Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it.
Look, mile like 3-6 pulled up, ski trip cold winter. All my eating good, I remember when we had no dinner. West side, east side, no side, both sides with me. Check, coming check, leaving flex season 12, come and get me. Gil to run around high speed, chasing all the big bags. Bending corners, bending rules, bending necks, Gil the whiplash. Slide through hot knife, warm butter storm, gutter drain lane. Young man, old habit, still at it, tryna let my chain hang. True story, new story, 2-story condo, B&B. 4 bath, 1 me, no key, like I did a B&E. Being me so good, so hood, so not worried about it. 250,000 new views, old news, know you probably heard about it. Extra, extra, read about it. Headline, word around town, flexing. Ballin' on my course, so I ain't worried about nobody out of bounds, stressing. Feeling like Hercules, murder these ain't a problem to me. Tried to tell the maid service don't come unless you bring it condoms to me.
Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it. Moving, shaking, coming down, tipping. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down, tipping. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down, tipping. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down, tipping. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Trigger Mike. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Today is Thursday, our favorite day on YouTube, but you know why. You know why. Today is Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Thank y'all for coming through with me. Greetings and thanks to everybody in the chat that's holding it down. Thank y'all for coming through to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. I know you could be anywhere, but you're here right now with me, listening to me. So I appreciate that. We got 45 people in the chat. I need a like from every one of you right now as we get more people pouring in. Oh, I'm excited right now. Right before, while the music was playing, FedEx came to the door and delivered me a new blicky. Got that nice P365X macro. Again, I had one. I sold it, but I usually regret when I sell things. But I got the different version. I got the RXZ with the suppressor height sights on it and the optic. They finally put a shroud on that Romeo little zero optic they had that kept breaking, but I'm not gonna show it on camera. But this thing is lit. This thing is lit. Hopefully, I have some time to shoot after we get off the show today. But what's going on with y'all, man? What's going on? How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Hopefully, everybody got to work safe. Hopefully, the weather is good wherever you're at. Um, in the Houston area, we are going out of that cool breeze time where we get that nice gentle breeze coming in the night, and we about to go to straight hell. It's about to be humid as hell out here. I can already tell it's been raining all week. That means the humidity is on its way. No doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that. It's about to be hella humid. But welcome to everybody coming in. Welcome to everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the Lapeef Network if you have not, and share this out. You know the Lapeef Network is on its way to 100,000 subscribers. I apologize if you hear the vacuum. The cleaning ladies are almost done. Been here for the last 2 hours, but it's three of them. When I say these ladies are like ninjas, when they came in, I didn't take a shower yet. I was responding to student discussion boards all morning. I was like, damn. So they cleaned damn near the whole house, like the whole downstairs and the office, which I'm in, while I was in the shower. Like, what the? Spotless. Spotless, too. Shout out to the cleaning ladies, man. They make a good living. They figured it out. They are efficient. These ladies might be low-key millionaires while you bullshit. They might be low-key millionaires. They gonna hit about, I'd say 10 houses today at this speed in this neighborhood. That's a lie. 2 hours at a time. That's 20 hours. They gonna hit about 5 houses today. At day rate, that's $1,000 in a day. That's a hella good living. All right. Shout out to the sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Shout out to the sponsor, Tiege Hanley. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is down in the description. We are encouraging you to get those gifts for Father's Day. That's coming up. Skincare for men. If you want your husband or your dude or your father's face looking smooth and you want to be a blessing to a man, get a man interested in something most men may not be interested in right away. I wasn't interested in skincare, but I've always had problems with my skin, even from being a teenager, right? So get them that Tiege pack. Good results there. And if you would like to support the show, you can do so in form of super chat. I will be reading those aloud, and you can send a super thanks after the broadcast is over. We always appreciate that. Who I got in chat? Dale Matthew, what's going on? Cool Gamer. Haven't seen you before, but welcome. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Billy 2X, what's going on? What's going on? The Most High, how you doing? Jill's Chocolate Boutique is always in the building. Welcome. Advanced Perception. Saw the trailer for Class of '09 and thought you had a TV role. Oh, snap. Okay, you the third person that said that. I'm not going to lie. I am kind of offended because dude is chunky. And I ain't that chunky. But in his younger version, I don't think he looked like me. But when he go gray, I was like, oh, damn. I think you might be right. Brian Tyree Henry. I look like Paperboy from Atlanta. Okay. I'll take that. As long as he rich, I'll take that. Guess all black people don't look alike. Marquise Keys, what's going on? Demetrius Carter, what's up? What's up? Prime VA 757, hometown, representing. Faceless Man says Malika Andrews, Ebony K. Williams, and Tracy Ellis Ross are the same woman in different stages of life. Ooh, deep, deep, deep. MS Best, what's going on? Jesse, Black Bear Arms. Yo, yo, yo. Black Bear Arms. Tell me about that. Do you sell products? Did I? No, Angry Bear. Okay. I was like, I order from you, don't I? But no, that's Angry Bear Arms. I usually get my sights for my P320s from you. Hey, happy Thursday. Congrats on the new Blicky. He said Blinky. It's Blicky, but yes, this thing is pretty. I'm gonna have to figure out which grip because I'm supposed to have it stippled. I'm supposed to get it to the guy tomorrow to stipple it. Told him it was coming in today, but I forgot that this X Macro has back straps. So I got to figure out which back strap is most comfortable because once you put it on there, he's going to stipple it. But yeah, it's dope. The tolerances on this thing are tight. You can barely rack it. This is going to have one hell of a break-in period. Good God Almighty. One hell of a break-in period, but that's how we get down. What's going on? RTP Nipsey Nomad. Oh, yeah, the panel's going to open up, bro. The panel's going to open up today for sure. We're going to talk about this. So let me give you a little backstory on why I chose this topic for today. And I did a little bit of, I don't know what I want to say, research. I opened a conversation in one of my group chats. And what I wanted to know was why men would be single by choice. I want to let the women come up. Any women that are watching that want to come up today, please do so. Please do so. Yeah. Put the link to your firearm show. I'm going to do one. I got Prevectus Group. Ken from Prevectus Group is going to let me know when he's available. And we're actually going to do, I don't know, like a gun talk show or something. But I'm going to see what the rules are behind that. And I'm going to see if JR is cool with it. But if he is, yeah, we're going to do one of those shows talking about firearms and safety and all that type of stuff. So stay tuned for that. If you want to be a part of that, let me know. But like I was saying, this came about because I want to know the reason. And I like to talk real stuff. When I'm talking to my boys, I don't want them to give me the commercial answer to anything, right? I want to know some real stuff. Tell me something real because I'm going to be able to see through it. I'm always able to see through it, right? Oh, I'm good. You know, that doctored up answer that everybody's always giving you to let you know they are all right. I wanted to know some real stuff. The topic for today is single by choice. Now, the reason why this comes up, as you can see, Ebony K. Williams is on the thumbnail. Again, she's the popular woman of the moment that has said such a thing, or if I'm mistaken and she hasn't said it, she's alluded to it, as most women like her have. This is something that we keep hearing popping up back to back to back. I'm single by choice. That doesn't really make sense. And I want to know, and I'm going to ask the question. In fact, I'm going to drop the link right now because men and women that want to come up and talk, speak on this topic, please do so. Why are you single by choice? What does single by choice even mean? That is really what I want to know. All right. I am not so traditional that I cannot accept a different perspective, a different point of view, or a different evolutionary happening. Like this, if this is something that is a part of evolution, please come on and let me know. But what my particular stance on this, what I think about this whole single by choice narrative is that it contradicts human nature. It does. As far as you can find recorded history, there have been 5 to 6, I can't remember the 6, that's why I put 5 or 6 occurrences that are present since the beginning of civilization. All right? Birth, death, war, taxes, marriage, and or companionship. Those 5 things go back to all the recorded history within civilization. Birth, people being born. Death, people dying. War, people battling with each other over property, women, whatever. Taxes, taking money from people for the greater part of society, or even just a king taking money from the people. And marriage, people pairing off, or one dude with a bunch of women in a polygamous setup, people pairing off to create families and take care of each other. If it wasn't under what we know as legal marriage today, which it always hasn't been, I'm talking about the companionship, exclusive companionship between people. It's always happened. Companionship amongst a man and a woman. It's always happened for the purpose of bearing children under their own name. Those are the 5 things that have been present throughout civilization: birth, death, war, taxes, marriage, and or companionship. So we can say if something has been happening for thousands of years the same way, no matter who's born or who taught them to do that, it is human nature to prefer companionship. So by that metric, single by choice is a contradiction of human nature. So anybody who says they're single by choice, and remember, I'm open to this can be an evolutionary phenomenon. We might be going into a time in history where people's nature is changing. That's the only way I'm actually going to accept this perspective, if it is true. But I need y'all to come up and explain it to me. The link is dropped in the chat. I'm going to drop it again so y'all can come up and explain to me what this BS means. So let me not reject it outright. Who can actually be single by choice, and under what circumstances? Under what circumstances can somebody be single by choice? In my group chat yesterday, this is the question that I asked. Fellas, be real. Under what circumstances would you be single by choice? Or would you be choosing to remain single? Got some very, very good answers. And this is real stuff. These are my personal boys, men that I believe to be very mature, the ones that are single. Everybody else is just geeking and laughing like, damn, it's terrible out here. I'm glad I'm out the game. But one of the reasons why people are choosing to say single by choice is because they had a woman that would birth a child for them without commitment. That's one of the reasons. They had an amicable relationship. They were young when they had the kid. They grew up. They didn't really prefer each other. They're not really on that all that BS, which is actually the norm. Child support is not the only situation that happens. Most of those occurrences happen without court involvement. So, yeah, he's like, well, I got the kid already. The woman seems like a hassle. I was like, damn, okay. We never really got along. She never seemed to make an effort to get along with me. Why would I put myself in that situation again? That was one answer that was in the chat. Number 2, they don't want to get married out of fear of being under government control after a divorce. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that's the greatest reason. I feel like there's 2 of these answers that could be the greatest reason for this. They don't want to get married out of fear of being under government control after a divorce. I appreciated that answer. That seemed very real. Now, the reason why I'm going to go into this one a little deeper, because I said, damn, that's deep. The reason why I feel like this is actually what is going on for most men is that divorce is financial ruin for either one or both parties. Divorce is financial ruin. Now, every time we say that, we see that we have women that come up on the panel and be like, well, men don't have no money, especially black men. Black men don't have no money. That's actually not true. That is not true. It's not. Let's look at the grand scheme of what money actually is and what money actually means in a marriage or in modern society. Money is not just cash on hand. That's what y'all women are looking at. That's what the modern woman thinks money is cash on hand. Sure, most men do not have enough if we're going to be real about it, cash on hand, but nobody really does. The average American does not have $400 in savings. The average car payment is nearing $1,000. The average person does not have much cash on hand. But when we say divorce is financial ruin, here's what we mean. Regardless of what a man has, child support and other government mandated support can put a strain on your future earnings. Men do not get out of the workforce, especially men that were married or consider married or have children. They don't get out the workforce. They're going to keep ascending. Whatever they were doing in their 20s and early 30s will start paying them better in their late 30s and their 40s. That is the scale. That is how it works. Mid 40s, peak. You're well on your way. Whatever thing you were doing is starting to thing. It start thinking in it. And it's working for you now. We're not talking about alimony here. We mean other forms of government mandated support. It depends on the state. Some people do child support. We're not talking about spousal support. That doesn't apply, like you said. But there are other forms of support, but I'm going to label that here, or government mandated support and or division of what a man has can put a strain on his future earnings. So most men work, and this is something I don't hear talked about often enough. Working men have 401ks. If I'm not mistaken, that's even up for grabs in a divorce. So your retirement funds are at risk. And before anyone goes into the chat and be like, no, these men don't have 401ks. Yes, the number one employer of black men is public administration, city and state jobs. They absolutely have 401ks and some of the best that you can find. So they absolutely have them, whether they talk about them or not. Another reason that most men are probably, Demetrius Carter says IRAs, absolutely. Compassionate and Callous says 401ks and pensions are most deaf up for grabs. Stock, bonds, ETF, everything is up for grabs. And they're usually bus drivers. Thank you, Quincy. So these men with these average jobs have some of the most inflated 401ks you've ever seen. Can you imagine somebody who's been working from the city from 20 years old? Back where I'm from in VA, we got dudes working for the shipyard, Norfolk Naval Shipyard, Newport News Shipbuilding, from the time they were 14 years old in the apprenticeship program. Y'all don't ever talk about this stuff, though. 14 years old. What are we, 36? 22 years in the workforce. We're not even 40 yet. You see what I'm getting at here? Do you see what I'm getting at here? Men have a lot. Y'all are always looking at this situation as cash on hand. Men have a lot to lose. So, as some men say, this is their reason for staying single. It is their livelihood after the fact. After. I see you in the back, Moses. I'll bring you up in a second. After all, it is their livelihood. And I cannot think of anything worse. I cannot think of anything worse than having to care for a woman that you're not with. The hell? Don't she go to work too? Forget that. It's not my life. So another reason, other than the financial part. So we've already covered that. Divorce is financial ruin. Another reason most modern men are staying single, and this is a big one. This is what took the discussion it was long after this. One of my friends said, most modern women are not wives. I was like, damn. But let me go in further. I'll give you the synopsis, the summary of what was said. Men cannot figure out what benefit there is to you after they've slept with you. Women give you the greatest thing they have to offer up front. Men cannot figure out what the benefit is to being with you after they slept with you. This is evidenced by the fact that those men that are with women for years and they genuinely care about this woman, but then the woman turns out not to be wife material. But he gets with another woman who actually has wife qualities and they're married within 1 year. When you see that type of thing happening, that's what happened, ladies. Why was he with her? Why did he waste her time? He was waiting. He loved her. He did love her. He was waiting for that wife to come out. He was waiting for her to start being cooperative. He was waiting for her to stop being combative. He was hoping her disrespect wouldn't continue since he's already in it. And yeah, sure, we could argue. Maybe he should have left her sooner, cut her off, but the woman would have still been talking the same shit. You wasted my time. Then he gets with a woman with these qualities. He has to take her off the market. What else we got? I made a whole list. So why would I make the claim that most modern women aren't marriage material? I think it's because most Western women only talk about the type of husband they want, not the type of wife they want to be. I think that is true. I do not see enough wife shining out of these women. It's not jumping out of you. It ain't jumping out of y'all pores like it used to. Prospective wives present themselves to their prospective husbands. I'm a wife. I do this. I cook. I clean. My family is most important. My man is most important. I'm a wife first, above all things. You don't hear that no more. All you hear a woman say is me, 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 me. I'm sorry. I never would have married a woman like that. And the second I found a woman who was wife material, off the market. Like hand sanitizer. When y'all found out about the Rona, off the shelf. Gone. Found one. Wives understand their duties and accept them fully before they say I do. Another one we got. Men are single by choice because the women they are attracted to are unpleasant and cooperative. So this one was pretty dope because he basically said this is facts. He's attracted to toxic women. He loves educated women because his mother was a nurse. He just loves women that work, women that have something going for themselves, women that quote unquote bring something to the table. But as we can see, the problem with educated women can be that they are uncooperative and unpleasant. Another one. Men are single because they don't trust women not to be 304s. What do y'all think? Men are single because they don't trust women not to be 304s. I'm going to cut y'all some slack on this one, ladies. This man that said it, this is what men get when they run through too many women. He has had every woman. My buddy that came out with this one. He has had every type of woman. He is a known quantity. In college, he was community D, as y'all like to call it. Never could keep a serious girlfriend, never really wanted one. All right. So now he says men are single because he can't trust a woman not to be a hoe. And I think that is one of the biggest problems with that strategy. If you run through too many women, all women become hoes to you. And you damn sure wouldn't marry one. So that we have that one there. I'm gonna bring y'all up in a second. Hey, Black Man Unfiltered, come back in the back. I'm gonna bring you up in a second. Another one we got. Men can't trust a woman not to leave when things get tough. That's deep. Women initiate divorces 70 to 80% of the time. In the black community, 90% of the divorces are initiated by an educated woman. We can't trust you to stay when things get tough. I'm going to pull rank on this one. I'm going to pull rank because everybody in my family is married. No matter what income bracket, we got all type of people. Well, we don't really got any poor people in my family. We got middle class people. We got upper middle class people. We got rich ass people in my family. Everybody's marriage goes through it. Everybody's marriage gets tough. These doctors, all these doctors in my family, they've lost jobs before with $30,000 a month in expenses. Everybody's marriage, no matter what income bracket, gets tough. And men say they cannot trust you not to leave when things get tough. But most importantly, and this is the one I think, put a one in the chat if you agree. This is the one I think is most important. This is the one that kind of tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. Men are being single by choice out of the fear of having the family they created torn away from them. That one gave me a little bit of pause right there. But anyway, I'm going to bring the panel up. We're going to discuss this. Ladies, please come on up, and I want to ask the question to you. Why do you believe so many women are single by choice? Anissa, I know you want to come up as well. Please do so. What's going on, y'all?
What's good?
What's good, Mike?
Oh, damn, I brought JR up, but my bad. All right.
What's up, Mike?
What's up? Moses, what's going on? What are you opening topic?
I mean, look, let's be real. Single by choice. Look, if nobody wants you, let's just say it as it is. If it's not like you're not getting chosen, let's just say you're not chosen instead of saying you're not by choice. The choice is not by you being single. It's just that your qualities aren't really there as a lady. And men too that don't got that quality, they just want to be single because they got choices to mess around. But that's just the simple answer for me, honestly.
Mr. Ikene.
Yeah, the reason why men are single is this. It's just like you're trying to buy a car, right? And you have the cash to buy that car, or you want to finance it, but you have the down payment. But the car that you're trying to buy is a high-end car, but you're getting a used car, but you want a brand new car, but you're getting a used one. And then the next thing you hear from the dealer is that, oh, we're going to sell you the new car for the price of the used car. That's a problem. I don't care what inflation it is. I don't care what COVID it is. You can't sell a used car for the price of a new one. It doesn't happen. So until that used car is,
Do you mean a used car for the price of a new car?
yes.
Oh yeah, you said it backwards. Okay, I was wondering.
No. What I'm saying is that you can't sell a used car for the price of a new car. So
Yeah.
if somebody comes to dealership and wants to buy a new car, you can't tell them to buy a used car for the price of a new one.
Yep.
It's offensive. It's offensive. So number one, they're not younger. Number two, they have multiple kids. Not even, in fact, one kid is too many kids. One kid is too many kids for a man that doesn't even have any child at all. If you try to do a blended family, that's understandable. Married men should marry married women. Oh, I'm sorry, women, men with kids should marry women with kids. But if you're a woman with one child or more, but you want somebody with no kids, no, it doesn't work like that. You go against nature. So men are single by choice because what they actually want in the market, they can't find it in the market.
He makes a good point. I agree with him. I think it's good the market is not showing it. what are we trying to find that's not there? That's not trying to acquire that not type of look. It's just some knowledge that they're not picking up on. Like, do you think men want this type of look that's not popular? It's like popularity is the culture, but not the reality of what makes sense for the long term. You know what I'm saying? An
Yeah,
investment of a quality
yeah.
of a
No,
woman.
I'll say on this point, I agree. Um, I look at it in terms of like to the question that can a person be single by choice or a man and a woman in terms of relationships? I believe men to Ikane's point, I think men are the buyers. So a buyer, because a buyer hasn't bought a product, doesn't mean he they have we men have the choice based on the fact that they're the buyers in the relationship dynamic. If they don't buy, it's because they haven't found a product worthy, like Moses was saying. And in case of women, it's a little different because they're the sellers, and if they aren't being bought, there is a reason for that. The product must be subpar. So, like to the market analogy, I think women can't claim to be single by choice necessarily.
Hmm. That's that's pretty deep.
I
All
kind of
right.
disagree with that. I kind of
Go ahead.
disagree with that. I think we touched a little bit on this a couple shows ago. I think it depends on how much money that woman makes, because we often find that when women make in the hundreds of thousands and make the
They want
amount
to
that
be
they claim
single.
that they want, not necessarily that they want to be single, but that they want to protect their assets like men do. That's a fact. We see it with Oprah. Oprah refuses to get married.
Well, there's
Not
ways
that
to
she
protect your
doesn't.
assets without
Yeah,
without
but
abstaining from
Oprah isn't
relationships.
single either.
Yeah, she's not single now. Now I'm definitely not saying being single. Um,
But there's ways to protect your assets without abstaining from relationships. That couldn't be
true,
a
but
action. I wouldn't accept that as an
is
answer
it?
from a woman.
I don't
Would
know.
you? You
I
would? She not dating because
personally
she refusing to date because she worried about niggas stealing her money.
Yep.
no. I'm not saying that she's refusing to date. I'm just saying that, well,
But that'd be single by choice, though,
she's
right?
she she's refusing to date, but she's not. She's getting all the benefits of dating without being tied to one person, like a guy would, like a high caliber man, a man with a lot of money. He's not necessarily in any relationships. Yeah, he's dating. He's getting everything he wants. He's just not tied down to one woman. I think they're gonna maneuver that same way when they have a lot of money and they have assets to protect. Now, you said there's ways to protect assets, and I agree with you, but I just don't
Yeah,
think that women look at it that way. I don't think,
I got you.
it's I think more times than not they're not single by choice, but I think there are some that are definitely
Yeah, I
single
guess in
by
that
choice.
case, yeah, there are some exceptions
Yeah.
of women who are actually
Yeah,
like
there's
turning
more
Oh,
down
times.
dates and
I agree
turning
with
down
you on
relationships.
every. Yeah, I agree with you on everything you said. More times than not, they're not single by choice. That's just a coping mechanism, something they're saying to cope. But I think there are some rare gems out there that are strictly choosing not to be in a relationship. And I still think those women at the end is to the detriment of them, because they get to a certain age and they realize they effed up.
you
Well,
can can I go? Oh, go ahead.
naturally, I would agree, but the thing is, these women aren't necessarily wanting to be single. They they really want so women have the bad, I don't know, bad juju or whatever you want to call it, of easily pricing themselves out of the market. You have to, like, literally, you got to understand that you have to date. When you make it to a certain level, nobody's there. Even for the men, they got to date women that would naturally make less than them. And a man doesn't even want a woman that makes the same as him if he is a corporate CEO. That woman ain't got no time. If she has his habits and his work ethic. So if a woman makes it to the very top, she got to understand those men don't want her. First off, they don't want her. Like, women created the idea of power couples. That shit is a fantasy.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
That power couple.
Trigger Mike, what exactly what you were saying is exactly what I meant. So if that's how you classifying it, not by choice, then I totally agree with you. Then, like, everything you said was down to the T of what I was trying to explain.
Okay, yeah, they're not single necessarily by choice. They just price themselves out of the market.
Yeah, by
They still want. That's
Yeah,
why I
circumstance.
they're
brought up the
looking for a
word.
guy. Yeah, they make
Yeah.
500K. They're looking for a guy that makes 1.5 million.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They just
That's
want a
what I
guy, a
mean by
dude that
that.
make more than them. That's all.
Yeah, they single by circumstance.
Yeah, oh, that's a dope one. That's a dope one.
Yeah, that is.
Black man, go ahead.
Yeah, I got to push back because I think ain't no woman single by choice. Let me tell you why. If we go to prison, they put us in gin pop. They put us around other people. We can talk, whoop some ass, whatever the situation may be in jail. The reason that they put you in solitary confinement is because they know when you take away somebody's social construct, they go nuts. It's the same thing with women. Let me give you an example. Diane Carroll did I know y'all people if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Diane Carroll, before she died, said all those years I've been called the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful black woman, the most talented black woman. And I was out getting my money, and I built mansions and houses. And guess what happened? She said, when I die, I know all I'm going to see is the doctor and the nurse, because I did not value marriage. I've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take none of this shit with you. You gotta enjoy companionship because everybody wants companionship. So when these women say, I'm just single by choice, no. You're not single by choice. You're just in a position where nobody's choosing you. Because in your 20s, when that boy tried to marry you, your mama told you, live your best life. Do what you need to do. Do what you have to do, girl. Do you, right? So the guy that, So the guy that wanted you at 20, and you're at 40 now, he no longer wants you. He wants the 25-year-old because he wants a legacy. He wants to be able to have children, right? You're past the 35 mark. So you're not single by choice. You're just sitting, you're just expired. And so now you're in an antique store and people will come by and see you every now and then, but they have no use for you.
Damn.
Man.
Yeah.
That was metaphor after metaphor. I was like,
black man filtered.
Bar.
No filter.
And think about it, men actually, you never really hear men bragging about being single by choice. I think in terms of, in my point of view, I think they're the actual ones that can be single by choice. But like to Black Man's Unfiltered's point, so we're social creatures that men don't deny wanting companionship and wanting friends and wanting people around them. It's not a thing that we brag about being isolated. So that's
the worst part about it is we desire it less. Men are interested in things. Women are interested in people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we won't even be foolish enough. We have less of an interest for people, and we won't even be foolish enough to say,
"Ain't that some shit?"
But everybody went on this. Bet. So I got let me read these two super chats, and I'm gonna get the first question rolling. Advanced Perception, $2. Basically, the female version of an incel. Perry, I like it, $5. Men must stop being like honey badgers and taking anything. A lion lies in wait to make the perfect selection. Eliminate risk like a job interviewer. All right, appreciate those super chats. Y'all keep those coming. We got our first question coming up. I want to dive deep into this single by choice narrative. There will undoubtedly be a singles crisis in the next 10 years. What does that look like for the average man and woman? Moses, you got the floor. First one.
Next 10 years. I think someone put like an article about that in the past, saying that in 2050 or 2030, maybe Black Man Unfiltered maybe knows about it because I know him and Security Boss talk about it. I'm sure if that's going to be the next 10 years, we're probably going to see a lot of single ladies in America because we already have a higher number of women in the United States. And then also, being around the post service and all that, I've seen a lot of people buying a lot of passports, and that's going up in numbers. We're having a lot of sales. Shout out to the guys and the women who want to leave it for better quality for life, but I can't blame them. But America at this point,
passport bros.
Yeah, they get shout out because they definitely doing the work for that. I mean, don't know them, but I think we have to be really mindful that that's a bad look for our country. At the end of the day, we are here still, and if it's going to be that place with a lot of singles, there's not going to be a lot of communities being built up for homes for families. And I think a lot of the kids, especially, they're going to be more homeschool kids too. So it's going to be a lot of people looking at this country to be thinking, why they want to move here? After the 10 years, we can start looking different,
Yeah, I'll add to that. definitely demographics, birth rates. I think in the Black community specifically, I think we're below replacement already. So more singles probably gonna result in less babies. And like to Moses' point, we can't. The Black community can't. We can't afford to lose more people in the next coming generations. So yeah, demographic shifts and what that'll do to the economy, what that'll do to projections, future projections. Yeah, it's just not it's not good for like Moses put, it's not good for the country. And what's not good for the country, not good for the Black community. So
yeah, that means whatever the country is going through, the Black community experiences it the worst. That's actually been proven through socioeconomics, through psychosocial studies. They have been like, yeah, anything going on the economic front, if it's a cold, then Black people have the flu. It's hilarious. But
I'll say this real quick if I can.
Yep.
When it comes to this is what it's going to look like. All right, and you know I'm a biblical guy. The Bible says there's warning before the fall, right? There's God already gave us our warning on COVID when we was all locked in and had to be locked in place. All these women were crazy then. Oh Lord, help me. Oh, I need a man. Oh, I'm sitting in this apartment every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You sit in the apartment every day and you ain't getting it and nobody's touching you. You can't be out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a hoe no more. You know, it shut down the hoes. It shut down everything. Women couldn't do anything. And I think that was the warning before the fall. Now what's going to happen? I think if something major were to happen, because we got the weakest power grid on the planet. So if something were to happen here or we get some crazy, something were to just pop off, I think there needs to be a reset for women to understand where you are. If it comes to a point where you need to survive, that's $7 million Ebony K making a year, Ebony K Williams making a year, she's gonna try to get behind me and Trigger Mike and the rest of you fellows on this panel to protect her from that damn animal that's about to eat her, or from that guy that's trying to take her out. You know what I'm saying? Money is a social status right now that you can use to buy where you want, go where you want. But if something major were to happen and God decided I'm going to reset this thing, I'm going to take the power grid out. Without that, the internet, Wi-Fi, nails, weave, all that's gone. And now y'all gonna be running around looking like dyslexic roaches. Because there won't be any weave, there won't be any makeup, there won't be any social media. You will have to find you a man to protect you. And so I think that Trigger Mark, you said this before a while back, that something major is going to have to happen to reset the mind of women, because now women have gotten in their head, I'm better than a man. I am a man. I'm equal to a man. And we've gotten to that point. And so that's where we're going to be. I think men going to sit back. And it's my advice to men, sit back on your damn lazy boy after you worked all day and get you a bag of popcorn and just watch the fall.
Yeah, I wouldn't bail them out. I wouldn't, because
don't come running to me. Don't come running to me. I'm getting to the point now. If I'm driving down the road and you acting like a man, I'm gonna drive right past you with that flat tire.
I said I'm gonna lock my door. I damn sure am.
Yeah,
absolutely. Can I come in? No, sir. No, ma'am.
No, we don't want people listening to think that it's like, we don't want people to think that Black men are like hoping for some calamity to force women to then deal with us. Like like that's just stating, and I get what you're saying. Like,
let me tell you, that's what they're going to default to, in an effort to move the goalposts in this situation.
Yeah.
This is actually a calamity, of epic proportions, because if you are a student of history and you look and listen to history, read history, this will actually be the first time in history the fall of society is at least 50% on the choices women made without the influence of their men. That means that they have so much fault in their own choices that they made. Men are not even there. Have bankrupted, economically collapsed, and led to the deletion or whatever of an entire populace. This will be the first time that has ever happened.
Yep.
So they better prepare. It is not what we want. We see the writings on the wall. For some reason, men, obviously, if you watch enough panels, you'll feel comfortable with me saying this. Men are more realistic. than women are. Women get to dream into infinity and don't see the damn wave coming. Hey, we should move. The wave coming might take us out. Nah, we all right. No, with the wave coming, and we see it. We absolutely see it. Now, like, unfortunately, they think, you know what it really is? Women are completely oblivious to how well we made the world for them.
Yeah.
They live within a social construct that was created for their comfort, not even for ours. Because we can go back to the Stone Age. I'm gonna be all right. I will literally be. I can live outside. Take all these nice polos off. Take this nice ass house away from me. Take my car away from me. I will survive, and my family will too. But you ain't got no man.
Men did such a good job building society and putting the women in and putting the women and children first that they forgot to include themselves in it. And I think that's how we let it get to the point that it is.
Sugar Mike, there was a lady at the gym, and this went viral. And around the country at the gyms, a lot of women have been saying men are being misogynistic. They're rubbing up against them, touching, all crazy stuff, right? So there was a woman lifting weights. Yeah, and the weight fell on the back of her neck. And you should have saw the security video of men passing by her like she didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Right? She was sitting there with the weight on her neck, and the man was like, shit, I don't care. Right? And even here in Dallas, there was a black lady threw something in a guy's face, and he beat her like they were on the UFC. Just beating her ass, and all the dudes just sitting there still having conversation like there's nothing going on. Did nobody say break it up? Did nobody say nothing? It's getting to a point where women want to be so equal to men that men say, okay, if you're equal to me, I don't have to protect you.
It's also a natural occurrence. It's actually extremely sad. It's what's naturally happening. I saw the same thing of a video of a guy beating up a woman outside of a hotel randomly, like a mentally ill guy, and all the hotel workers, they actually got fired for it, which I would have sued, but they didn't go out there to help her. That is basically, like, women do not understand that it is a man's instinct to protect you, to protect what is weaker, to protect what is feminine. So if we do not instinctively protect you, we don't recognize you as feminine. That's it. Y'all have literally drained that out of society. Yeah. You have tried to minimize masculinity, play yourself out. Remember, they don't do that for no reason. They want to play themselves up as masculine figures. That's why they have to downplay our masculinity. So now we don't recognize them as feminine at all.
Yeah, and then when you get your ass whooped, I do. Y'all don't just one lady. He slapped her. I mean, he whooped her like she stole Jesus' supper, and she out there screaming to the men. So y'all just gonna sit there and let him do this to me? And one of the guys said, we equal. We equal.
If anyone would think this is cap, let that same thing that happened to that woman happen to a child, and watch all the men stomp that dude out.
Stomp him out.
Because we recognize children as in people that are in need of our help. But since women want to claim to be equal, and y'all have literally ruined society in that way with that narrative, and this is the worst part about these situations that we're seeing. I will definitely jump in when it's like that mentally ill situation. Most of these women brought that shit on themselves. They throwing punches, and they got punched.
Right, and you know what? I call them stud muffins. Let me tell you why. They act hard when it ain't no violence included, but they get real soft when they get their asses knocked out. Right? Because the lady in the gas station hit the man in the face with a beer can or something. He knocked her ass over the lottery tickets. And now, at first, when y'all got in the argument, you don't talk to me. And now oh my God, y'all didn't see that? No, don't turn the femininity on now. You just got your ass slapped to sleep. Just pick yourself up and go to your house. Nobody's going to protect you, bro. And it is, like you said, Trigger Mike, it is sad. Because 30 years ago, 40 years ago, a man would stomp a man out. Hey, man, don't put your hands on no woman, bro. Now, men will not even look. They will ignore it.
It's clear that they want the benefits of patriarchy and none of the responsibility that goes with it. They want to reform womanhood and keep manhood, curate manhood to what they want. And we're supposed to fight and be chivalrous on one hand, but at the same time, I don't even think they want parity. They don't want equality. They want superiority at this point.
I just want to add on to what you're saying, though. It's important to know, because even from the church perspective, it's not even taught men how to be masculine. I've noticed in the church we have a lot of weak men, and I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a problem.
Even the church is definitely.
I'm not gonna say names of nobody, no particular, but I wish the church would stop playing with people to know the fact that we got to be strong enough to protect our people within these buildings.
Bro, the
so we don't
black
have
church
that South Carolina story repeat itself again, or even outside the church. We in the grocery store, we could be protecting the people versus the ladies getting stomped out. All that stuff happening, but we need to get that mindset back into the men in these spaces. They don't want that.
The black
and guess what? Those men have those men have conformed. They conform, bro.
A lot of them do.
The black church has been compromised since the 90s. It's operating by a black, is operating by Christian feminism by this point. That's why black men aren't in the church anymore.
Naturally.
The preachers aren't teaching that.
They're doing it for money reasons.
And the preachers have to pander to the audience.
Unmarried people with kids. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I stopped going to the black church. I can't do it.
Hey, can I answer the question?
My church is like mostly white people. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Right.
And I guess a bunch of Africans feel that way because it's a bunch of white people and Nigerians. I don't get it. But
you can't tolerate the black church.
Yeah,
I mean, no, because it's the first thing you hear in the black church. I'm gonna let you go, Power. My bad, bro. But the first thing you hear in the black church is the black preacher is now he's conforming. He's become softer to the women, and he'll get in there. And I've heard preachers say, "With ladies, y'all don't need no man, because God is your man.
Oh no,
you don't need to wake up every day to a man that you ain't happy with, because God is your man." Hell no.
It's worse than that. I've been in churches where they've told the single men to stand up, and that they needed to marry the women, the single mothers in the congregation.
I saw that, yo.
What church was it? Was it Friendship West? It was Friendship West, wasn't it?
That is real. I told you
Killer
too.
He stopped the whole church, a mega church, and told all the single men to stand up, and then said, y'all need to marry these single mothers.
Yeah, you talk about Friendship West in Dallas, bro, for sure.
Hey, he walked out. All the men that walked out didn't want to be there.
And y'all wonder why black men are not going to the black church. And you wonder why the black church isn't speaking to black men.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's what men don't want to be.
Well, Father's Day coming up. They're going to be asking the women to stand up on Father's Day, too.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
All the fathers stand up.
Oh,
yeah.
My wife
Sunday's coming up. Mm-hmm.
I give that little swift kick to her knee. Like, if you don't sit your ass, who the hell stood up for Father's Day? Go ass down. It's my day. Sugar Curls, what's going on? You got a thought on this topic? We haven't had a lady come up yet. What do you think this whole single by choice thing means?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can y'all hear me okay? I have different headphones on today.
It sounds kind of...
It's kind of muffled.
Yeah, a little muffled. Let me see if I can turn you up. Go ahead.
Okay. What about now?
That sounds a little better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of low on my end. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and offer my opinion. This may not be popular, but I kind of have a bit of a more balanced.
Mm-hmm. I said usually isn't if it's the truth. It usually isn't popular. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I kind of have a bit of a, I guess you can say, more balanced view or take on this.
Yep.
From a biblical standpoint, there are some benefits of being single, okay? And there are benefits of being married. And so I do think that if a person is aware of what those things are, before God, they have their actual goals as to what they're doing. A person, a man or woman, can be single by choice, but it's not being single because they don't need a man or because they are independent, but they have other goals and aspirations spiritually. Maybe they want to be a missionary. Maybe they want to travel and learn another language. And so the freedom of not having to have a family may allow them to do that. Or maybe they have career goals that they want to accomplish first. And so they're choosing to be single maybe they have self-development. They have some things that they know they want to be married, but they know that the things that they come with are not conducive to a marriage. So they are wanting to be single in order to work on those things, pursue spiritual goals, and until they're ready to be married. I have many friends that, really are choosing to be single. They don't want to be married. They're capable of being married. They're very well, but they're choosing to be single. So that's my take on that.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, I can barely hear you though. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Do I need to speak up a little louder?
No, you're good.
No,
I'm
you're
gonna
okay.
I'm gonna go after Black.
Okay,
Black
let
man.
me ask you a question. Are your friends sexually active?
Honestly, I don't get into their personal business like that. We try to keep it just on that surface level. Many of them I do know are not sexually active. Others I don't know for sure. We don't really get beyond that surface to like know their sexual life. I don't even as a married woman myself, when I talk to other married women, I don't discuss my sex life with other women. So I wouldn't know.
Well, the
So
reason that I asked that question is because if someone is searching for their spiritual being and who they are, then sex is not
Mhm.
a part of that. And if they are sexually active during a spiritual journey, then they're not accurate or they're not authentic in their spiritual growth, especially if
Mhm.
they're not married. If they're not married, right? And then the other
Yeah.
thing that when you said about the career, most women will go get their career first, and then all of a sudden there's that O word. Oops, I'm 37. Dang, I can't have kids. I wanted to have kids, right? Now I got to put myself on the market because I focus so much on my career. Now I have to put myself on a market and I'm competing with 25-year-olds that have no kids that can bear children that also want to be married. Now I
But
put
black,
myself
Mhm.
black
in this
man,
pool.
let's not start with that the premise that, because it seems like, let's not start with the premise that you have to not date and not focus on your relationships while you're pursuing your career.
Right.
Oh
But I
yeah.
think,
Plenty of
yeah,
people
I
do. Plenty
agree.
of other
Oh yeah.
communities do
So
that perfectly fine. They have more degrees,
no,
more careers,
exactly.
more everything, and
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
marriage. So how is
So
it?
you took
We can't
yeah.
start with the false premise that
No,
it's
well, it's
normal
not.
to
It's
just abstain
what
from relationships while you go
what
to work.
we can't say any one thing is false because there are people who say I'm not going to be within. I'll go have sex and do my career, but I'm not going to focus on marriage or family until I get my
Yeah.
career.
Yeah,
Here's
but
what
Right.
it
that's
is.
the
So
Here's
outlier
what it
though,
is
right?
because
no,
both
no,
of
no,
you
no,
are
sir.
actually right. Everybody, there is no wrong answer to this because it's all something we've heard. What it is a byproduct of bad teaching. These people's mothers failed them. These things have been
Mm,
passed on going on 3 decades now. Girl, take the
mm.
time, work on you. We hear that. And just like Black Man said, they're still sexually active. And the longer you delay marriage, we would actually have no problem with it if they weren't creating circumstances that were required to be inside of a marriage. They can say they're working on themselves, but somehow their belly pop out pregnant, right? For most women, not your situation, Sugar Curls. And the reason why I think
Yeah.
so many women are kind of choosing a bad strategy every time they do that and say I'm working on myself. You are actually supposed to grow up in a marriage. People don't know that anymore or don't understand that. A
Well,
part
trigger
of
my.
you, yeah.
No, I was going to say that the average age right now, as I want to say to you and compassionate over there. I want to be. I want to say your name right.
Yeah.
The average age right now that we talked about on your show a few weeks ago, Trigger Mike, is that the average woman right now in our community is having a child by 21. So
Yep.
how is it that having a baby first before marriage, how is that the natural and most important thing to do right now? Because now we're having the women that say, I want my career, I want to be able to go on spiritual journeys, but they're getting pregnant,
And
right?
you know
They're
what
But
the
they're
we've
and you know
heard
what the
women
average
say that they
age
want
is?
kids, but they don't want to be
But
married.
they
We've
don't
And
heard
want to
women
commit.
say that.
Exactly. They
Go
want
ahead.
yeah,
married.
exactly.
How was the average
They'll
age
rather have a
for
kid.
black women birth 21, but their average marriage is like 29 or 30?
Yeah,
Like it's backwards.
it
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
is.
it
don't do
is.
it by
Yeah, yeah.
then.
If they get
They
married at all, they get married at an average age of 30, 31. And that's what they say they want to get married when they're polled. What age do you want to be married? 30.
yeah. So it's a bad strategy all around.
It's a bad
Yeah.
I,
But
I
hold on.
think
Well, basically, hold on. Basically, you're having the baby at 20 or 21, and then 10 years later, you find the man you want to marry, and he got to take care of somebody else's child.
Yeah, but Killer Mike just said it. It's actually a thing taught in the community to Black women that they should go after college, find themselves and work on themselves and do it for a decade and then find a man.
What is finding yourself? Like that term is so
not only that, hold on, let me say this, Moses. Not only that, women, y'all have to understand that you got set up with the worst strategy in history. The average age of first marriage for marriageable men is 29.7, and that just got pushed up. It used to be 27. So if you wait till 30, you literally are picking from a pool of shit most of the time, because the men that are still available after 30 are usually high productivity working men that women who are better qualified than you will get. That's why I don't like that Ready to Love show. All them dudes over 30, it's the worst. Like men over 30, but women over 30. All the women that are weighted, that are all lawyers and all these great jobs, picking from the shit.
So it is
weird. It's weird to me because why does it seem like our women are the only women that can become lawyers and doctors and pursue careers, but can't do that and develop marriages and relationships?
This is why I do not understand this glow up message. You are not. Let's make one thing clear. Very few Black women are STEM anything, right? Like you're usually, let's say, some are lawyers, some are great careers. But let's be honest, Indian, African, Asian women, their jobs are harder than yours. They make up most of the doctors. They make up most of the physicists, the statisticians, the college professors, all those jobs. And they do the entire thing at the same time. Most of these women were married in college.
Exactly.
My opinion is
so how are you doing it
the wrong way?
When your job... Yeah, go ahead.
I said Sugar Curl said she had a question for me. Hey, Sugar Curls, before you go, you have your own hairline, right? Your own hair stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a lot about your stuff. I need to order. Put your information in the back so I can order some stuff from you and support you. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to agree with you and what Trigger Mike was saying about, I do think if a woman or man for that matter is focused on spiritual things, their spiritual goals, trying to educate themselves, I don't think that being sexually active would contribute to them getting their end goal, which is just to remain single. So definitely being sexually active would cloud their path. So I just don't know personally, if those people that I know of, there's thousands of people actually that take this course. But I do agree with what you were saying. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
I think they're being hypergamous the wrong way. It's all those other women that you guys named, they get their husbands while they're in college. They find their husbands at college. The African American women, not all of them, but
too many.
A significant majority.
Only
let's not keep playing with that.
They practice lustful hypergamy. That's what you're talking about. They practice. The man they want to get their back blown out by the most is the man that they pursue the hardest. It is backwards hypergamy. You're right. What they're supposed to do. Literally, this is what hypergamy is supposed to be. What man will give me the best opportunity? I'm sorry, I said that wrong. What the best available man? You're not supposed to wait. You're supposed to surround yourself with capable men. Literally, the Pookies and the Ray Rays are supposed to be, it's like a red carpet thing. All the men that are supposed to be available to you walk the red carpet, and the Pookies are the dudes taking pictures and yelling at everybody trying to get an autograph. That's the way it's supposed to be. Women are with the Pookies. You see what I'm saying? Right now. And they're supposed to be on the red carpet. The best available men to you, you're supposed to be saying, this man will give me the best chance at life. If he impregnates me, he will most likely marry me and take care of his children. If he ever falls on hard times, he has a good family background. He will not stop trying till he sets the record straight. This is how you're supposed to practice hypergamy.
So trigger technically is not even hypergamy. It's really like reverse natural selection.
Exactly.
Because hypergamy would be seeking out the most resources, most competent men.
Most competent men, exactly.
And they're not. So it's reverse natural selection. It's literally selecting for the least skilled.
It's backwards.
Least competent.
It's lustful, exactly. But you got to understand too, it always involves sex. So that's why I say lustful hypergamy.
Right. That's because
go ahead.
Sugar Mike, I agree with you, man. Before I get out of here, man, I agree with you. I think women should be on the red carpet, not the bedroom carpet, but the red carpet. And I think that's one of the things. I think, oh, I need to get him. I need him to come hit this thing. I need him to do this. But you're putting yourself at risk because a woman goes through way more risk than a man does when she's playing with sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is fact.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay.
right.
There is something that Black Man on Filter said. He said, and then somebody said no, that wasn't correct. That it was outlier. It's not outlier at all. It's not outlier because I got to say this. I have been dealing with women for almost going to 30 years. Okay, and I got to tell you one thing about women, especially Black women. Black women believe that when they are in school, they don't need marriage. They don't have to be married. That they don't want to be married. That they want to obtain their degree first. And after they've obtained their degree, that they want to go out there and see what the world has, then they're going to think about marriage. Black women don't go to university to find a husband and obtain a degree. It's very common in the white community. White girls go to university to obtain degree and get grad. They do that all the time. We all know that. But your average Black woman wants to go there and get a BA, get a master's, and now start looking for a man. Before you know it, she's 30 years old. In fact, average Black woman starts looking for a husband when she's 32. And then she comes to you with attitude. This is why they're single. They're single because she believes that all these years, everybody has told her that all she needed was to get education. That if she gets that education, all the Black men will kneel down to her feet and they will beg her to be their wife. And that is not happening.
Well, I agree.
That is not happening. And that's why she's freaking out that, hey, I was told all this. And here I am, I'm being told, what am I bringing to the table? And they're telling me that education is not all. Whereas I've been told that all I need to get is a degree.
No, to that point, he's right. Black women, and I'm ADOS, Black women are definitely, in terms of that, I'll revise my original statement. Black women are definitely being choosing to be single by choice in a lot of cases because they're being socialized and, like you said, by their mothers and being told to deliberately don't stave off marriage as long as humanly possible and do things on your own, get a job. They're going to college to get a job so they can further prove why they don't need to be married or in a relationship. So they are choosing it, I guess. To the young lady that was already up here, I guess they are deliberately choosing, and probably one of the probably the only group of women on the planet doing it, but probably deliberately choosing to not be in relationships.
All right, Grant, let's get Grant in there.
Hey, thanks for having me. I would like to think that humans have some agency in their decisions, and I think you can be single by choice. I think at least the vast majority of us in our first 30 years on this earth, approximately, we're going to be single in some form or fashion, at least by the definition. Do I think Black women and Black men have a heightened rate of being single? Yes. But I do think being single can be a choice. I don't think it has to be something where we have to negate someone's notions of or their decisions not to be with someone, especially if you're defining it by marriage. And I'll just push back on the idea that white women go to college to be married. Well, the data doesn't support that because white women get married at the age of 28, which means that they will have to have an elongated sort of dating period and or engagement period, which doesn't seem to be true. I think we can discuss the positives of being married without necessarily making up sort of information about white people. I think they have a lot of problems that they're having to deal with within their relationships, but I don't necessarily think it's
Where'd you get
true
that data? May I ask? You said 29. That sounds a little steep. Where'd you get that data?
Yeah, where'd
For
you get
white
that?
women? No, it's
I mean,
up. No, it actually, like I said, for the other one, it just got increased. So the
Yeah, but they're not getting
It
married
wasn't
at
anywhere
of
near
first marriage,
29, though.
the
yeah,
average age
but
for first marriage for everybody, even
yes,
Hispanics, is gone up. It's
yes.
gone up.
Yeah, but
So it's
but
about
whites
28,
were.
20. I mean, it's about 27 or 20. I mean, you can Google it, but they're not getting married at 22. They're not getting
Yeah,
married
they're
at
not doing that
23.
no more.
They're not getting married at 24 on average.
Yeah, I
So
don't
The
think it's 29.
average,
I
I'm
think
making
24 probably might start happening.
the average is 24. As at 2015, I think it's
Yeah, it wasn't
2018
anywhere
census because it's not
29.
updated. Yeah, it's not updated
No one's
yet.
near
But
black women.
the average is nobody near black women. Black women is 35.
Yeah, that's why I wanted
White
to know where that
women
data
are.
came
black
from.
women's average is
Uh,
not 35. Like, I mean, I think the goal is not to sort of throwing
no,
out
actually,
numbers.
Well,
actually,
you threw out a number,
no,
bro.
let me
I
no,
did.
no. And let me give you the number, bro. Let me just give you the number.
Okay,
Average
cool.
black women's average black women's marriage age for or marriage age for the ones that are married is 32. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
average
32.
for the married ones. But if you put the whole of them together, it's almost 40. Because remember that almost 60% of black women never marry. I'm talking
No,
about from the age of
you're talking about the average of their
18 to
first.
65.
It's their average of their
But the
first
average
marriage.
is 32. The average of the first marriage is
I'm
32.
looking at it right now from
White
status. It's
24.
32.
All right, he's looking at the stats now. What's up,
It's
Mike?
32
Yeah,
years of age. Yeah,
yeah. So now
Average
you confirm
overall?
me. No,
yeah,
for black
it's
women,
up for
average
everybody.
overall.
It's up for everybody. That's crazy. It is no longer anything under the lowest is for a woman is 27.2. That's the average, and
Thank
that's
you. The
native
point I was
Hawaiian.
making
That
stands.
makes so much sense, though.
Well,
That it is
so
that is
the
that is,
one
that it's
thing that I want
higher.
to the one thing that I want to that is directly a result of women putting off marriage due to education on all
Education,
fronts.
yeah.
I mean, it's feminine.
Because I was
So
gonna say, at
you
what
get
age
out
do
at
you get your
22. So remember, these
masters?
women aren't with these men and then they just get married. They're with them for years. So even though it got pushed back, it's a direct result of more women of all ethnic groups pursuing education. So yeah, that's one reason, but I don't think it's very healthy, to be honest. I don't. Unless you are
No, man.
planning, because the one thing those women say, which I still think is kind of weird. And Anissa, can you cam up real quick and then you can cam back down? I just need to make sure it's you. I see you in the back though. Is they don't want to have kids right away. How many times do you hear a woman say, well, I just want to enjoy my husband? Well, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
We don't have that much time. We got 1 or 2 years tops. Because if you want to be done by 35 to have 2 or 3, then we got to get started right away. What do y'all think?
And to make a
Yeah.
marriage productive has to be at least 2 children to retain current birth rates. If
Yeah.
birth rates fall, that matters. So
Yeah,
it's not a
tax
frivolous thing. If
implications
if I don't
matter.
want to have kids, if enough people don't have enough kids, our productivity and GDP will drop. All type of shit will mess up.
Yeah, China going through it now because at one point
Yeah,
they
the
hit
one
a
child
wall where you
policy
can only
fucked them.
have one child. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
So
they're
now
banning.
now
We
most of
won't
their
have
people are
as
senior
bad of a
citizens.
problem because immigrants, the worst part is
Yeah.
that because the immigrants want to be here, but China gonna have a problem because ain't
Yeah,
nobody
Oh yeah,
moving
they
there.
they definitely got a they
they're
Exactly.
already
banning.
got a problem. Most of their citizens are over 65 and they can't afford to, pay taxes or give out social security and stuff because there's not enough young people to pay taxes in their country.
That's
Yeah, they're
crazy.
starting to ban now. Men who are feminizing themselves. They're trying to cut that on that too now, apparently, because they're saying now they want to make their people masculine again. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
they're trying to catch
They're trying
that
to reverse
wave.
Yeah.
course. Yeah. And they're
Yeah, so they're trying to
authoritarian, so they can do it.
they double back on what they're doing from the
They'll
whole
try.
child thing.
Yeah.
So I see why, because they're now noticing that it's not working for us, and apparently it got to them. So they're not going to stop it. I just know for a fact that they're going to keep trying. But that whole policy they made in the past, it bites
It
them in the butt
screwed them
now.
over bad. It screwed them
Yeah,
over
bite them in the
bad.
butt. So
They too far gone now.
Yeah.
You
You
oh
know
yeah,
can't
they
really.
gone.
that is an important question to bring up. Did anybody else want to answer this question before I get the next question?
I
What's the
did.
question?
I did. So
Go ahead.
we're talking about 10 years, and I agree with everything that everybody says is gonna happen. I just don't think it's gonna happen in 10 years. I think the next 2.5 generations are gone. If they don't get with the program, it's over with. I think it's gonna take the people who are dealing with it now to get to their 60s, 70s, maybe 50s, 60s, 70s, and for the people younger than that to see how it works out for them to realize that, hey, this not a good idea. Maybe we should do what they've been telling us to do. Maybe we should follow the blueprint of people who are
No
married and
power, but you don't
everything.
have you. I don't think we had that time because once you slip past a certain point, once demographics like we below replacement already. Our marriage rates are collapsed already. Black boys can't read already. You don't have generations just to watch the first ones fuck ups and then slowly put it together. Like we might be like in the fourth quarter of the game at this point. Like if
I don't know.
millennials
I
don't pull it
think
together, it's over with for the black community. Dead ass.
I think we're at the time now where people are trying to profit off of it now. I
Yep.
think we're still having we might be having a decline in births, but from what the stats we see and all the single mothers that we see, there's definitely still kids popping out.
No, in spite of
Well,
that,
so
no,
so
the birth rates are accurate. We're below. We're like 1.7. We're below
yeah,
because we
well,
don't have
it's not
families.
even just birth rate. So y'all got to break it all the way down. So let's say China. China's issue is birth rate because someone said it. They're an authoritarian country. They can basically mandate whatever they need to mandate once they get the numbers to make sure their
Yeah.
society thrives. So our problem isn't just birth rate; it's lack of family. So how are we going to ensure these families or these kids are even taught their appropriate values and they're going to end up functional members of society? Because the way it's going now, a lot of them are going to end up in jail. A lot of them are going to be
Right.
underemployed. A lot of them are not going to be able to read. So it's like we're going in the wrong direction on all fronts. Like we have a
Oh yeah,
theory.
And my point was
definitely
we
agree
just don't
with
have the time. We don't have another generation to watch it fuck up. Literally, we don't. Like the
I
Z's,
don't
once the
think so.
Z's become
I think it's still enough room for that because even with the China law, China had that law in place for decades, and they're
Yeah.
just now starting to freak out about it. But I think the
No, bro.
U.S. isn't as bad off as China.
And it's not going to be easy. Like China themselves is not going to be able to reverse course on that just because they got the numbers in. They literally have too many. They don't have enough girls.
Nope.
I agree with that.
Like
I
they
definitely
can't just
agree
print
that
up
China is
girls.
over with now. I
Yeah,
agree
no,
with
but
China
we
is
on the
over
same
with.
course. Our demographic, white people below replacement, black people below replacement. Even though we got a bunch of single mamas, they all got one kid. So it's
So you're
not.
saying that. So you're saying
We're not replacing
all of that's
ourselves.
gonna happen in 10 years though.
I'm saying the millennials are a large generation because we're of we're of the boomers and the Xers. We're not giving birth to a large generation. We're the next gen. The Z's are going to have the alpha after the Z's are going to be even smaller. And like Mike said, the way our shit is going now, like we're already off the tracks as far as the family dynamics and what boys' options are and girls. We already seeing what Xers are going through right now, like with the Ebony K. Williams and of such. The birth rates, that shit is not going to be able to be reversed. China not going to just be able to reverse. They going to probably lose 500 million people, but they cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think our country will be able to hold longer due to what Mike said. We have a lot of immigrants coming in. So
No, we hope it, but
ourselves.
I was gonna say that is what
that don't help the black
that is what
community.
they
though.
won't talk about up front.
Oh, I
because
know
they
it. I know it don't help
I
the
was
black
gonna say they
community.
want to control which immigrants come in, so they won't say that outright. But
I
Exactly.
definitely
it's
know
called
it's not
it's
gonna
called
help,
the
but it's
ethnic
gonna
switch.
definitely get worse. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I don't believe
You
all
think we
of
got
that.
time? You hoping we got time?
Man, we don't got time.
No, I'm telling you what's gonna happen before everything y'all said is gonna happen, and what
Yeah.
I believe what y'all said is gonna happen, it's still gonna happen if we don't correct course. But I don't think it's gonna happen in 10 years.
No, not
I don't think
no.
it's gonna
This
happen in
is
10 years.
this is what I'm saying.
I don't think
It's
the
not
world
going to
is gonna
happen in
fold
10
over
years.
on itself that quick.
I think
Well, yeah,
you can
not
also
10
look at the
years.
numbers. So I think by 2050, they say the black dollar is going to be worth. I mean the net worth of black people is going to be zero. So when you look at the numbers, that means they are basically saying at the cycle of the degeneracy that we are
We're not gonna
moving,
be there.
that we're not
We're
going to
not
be
even gonna
here.
be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in 50 years, the only dark skinned people that you might see that are young are like Africans
Mm.
and Caribbean people.
That's right.
Yep. And we did it to us. We're gonna be like the Indians. They're gonna be reading
Yep.
about the African Americans in the books.
Yep.
Thanks, ladies.
Did he just say that?
Wow.
Oh,
He
that
said,
was funny.
thanks, ladies.
That
Wow.
nigga about to be history. That's what.
That's a clip. Clip that, JR.
Oh man. Yeah, we all gonna be grandpas telling stories, but like, man, you see this? This
Yep.
is a young lad named NBA Young Boy. Boy, people sure didn't like him, but he was so destructive to our community and its
He
viability.
did contribute to the birth rate, though. But I mean, other than that,
He definitely did that. I give
Nick
him
Cannon,
that.
yeah.
This is Nick Cannon. He was the last of the efforts
give
to
him
preserve
that.
the population. Damn, that's funny. All right, let's get this next question rolling. Let me get this super chat read. AL, in fact, I think I missed a few. Let me go back up and find them. AL, $5. The folks in charge want population reduction. Gates, Buffett, and other billionaires self-admittedly want population control.
Well, that's how you know
They
that
are
that
looking at it
conspiracy
from
theory
only
is not
one.
true.
Exactly. They are looking at it from only one spectrum, and that's
Right.
consumption.
do
And,
they though? Because it takes money out of they really want less
Exactly.
people.
That don't even make sense
Yeah,
mathematically. The
Trigger
birth
Mike,
rates don't reflect that.
put me on because I'm going to hang up the phone.
All right. Got you. All right, bet. So read that super chat. Let's get that next question rolling. How has the war against masculinity contributed to the singles crisis? Anybody can go.
Well, I'll go.
What was the question?
The war against masculinity, it de-incentivizes men being men. So that includes courting. That includes wishing to rear a family and provide for a family. It devalues the masculine contribution to a point that just like in Japan and all over the world, men are lying flat, boys are lying flat. They don't want to do anything. They don't plan on getting married. They don't plan on raising a family. And one of the results is a lot of people walk around single their whole life. So, yeah.
That makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Let me read this question again. How has the war against masculinity contributed to the singles crisis?
Yeah, so I think the war of masculinity has to the crisis of the whole masculinity stuff we're talking about. I think based on just culture alone, it's just an agenda, like you weaken the men, you make the home not strong. I mean, it's just simple as that. I think if you continue to make the man less a strength to protect the women and the children, you tend to take out that power that's there from the man as a leader. You can have a man that's not an example to the rest of the family or society in a culture. We're having that same story that happens every time. It's that same father missing in a home that makes the children understand a man's role, for the son to be like the father and for a daughter to know what a man is, to pick a man like him. Seeing that story, it continues to repeat the cycle. And I've always advised ladies, stop playing games in your years that you got time to pick, because it's not going to be like that forever. They're not going to pick you in your older age. I'm not saying to make it funny, but that's the truth. And sometimes the truth is not going to sell, and that's just what it is.
The reality is they're not being taught. Our women don't want to raise families.
Yeah, it's not popular. Because I told a lady one time, you see, the thing is, look, you can retire from a job, right? The job is a job. It's going to let you go. Like Jamie Foxx, pray for that man. I don't know what's going on with Jamie. Pray for that guy.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready either.
for that
They
thing to
saying
come
it's
across
bad.
the screen, man.
It's really bad. But the thing is, I told ladies, that job you got for that, $15, $20 an hour, 30, whatever. Look, at the end of the day, when you go back to your small apartment or to your parents' house in your small room, you're not going back to nobody besides the people you know or by yourself. The thing is, money can never love you like a man will love you. It's a person that's human that you need around you that's going to always remember you. That's what you built with. That money will never amount to a family that you got that will always represent you well. That'll be your family, to your husband, to your children, that will always give you that value more than money. Because that money's not going to tell you better things. It's just giving an experience.
But
And once it's over,
I think
that's
the reality.
it.
I think that don't sit well with the modern.
It don't, because that's
female.
not about. It's about the feeling good in a moment. That's about the happiness.
Well, no, I think it's more about that you just described. That's illustrating relying. Their fulfillment is relying on their family and maybe a man and children. that doesn't sit well with the
It doesn't
modern
never sit,
woman,
but that's the
because
thing. They
they're
were
being
taught the
taught that
other way to
that's
think.
actually that's wrong. That your happiness is tied to someone else. You should be able to be happy by yourself. You should be able to be
No
your
one's happy by
happiness.
themselves. I'll be honest,
But
because
that's
that
what they're being
mindset is.
taught.
But that's that culture
The thing is
telling us
this.
that you're by yourself is a culture of telling you you're better alone. No one's a man or woman alone. That does not work. That is like solitary confinement to the crazies. That
Well,
don't work.
that works for consumerism. It
It
works
don't
for a
work.
society that's trying to make money. For a society that's trying to make money, the women not having men telling them not to buy shit is a better society.
It's not about telling them
That's
what to do. It's about having a companion to love you, to know you're there for them,
well,
protect you,
no,
and
it
give you
is
a
about telling them what
legacy.
to do. You just described it earlier. A man is there. Men and women are brought together. The society is hell bent on. It's a capitalist society, bro. The reality
Yeah.
is they've pushed this message, this independence shit, to women, our women specifically, to spur capitalism and consumerism.
Yep.
It's a fact that single women spend way more money than married women. It's not a
Yep.
coincidence,
Right. It's
because
true.
married women have men somewhere telling them, no, thinking ahead, saying, no, we ain't spending that. They rather have it the other way around, where women have making their own money and they can jerk that shit in the market. That's why they're pushing it, and that's why
It
they
is
won't stop pushing.
absolutely. It is absolutely
But
100%.
Yeah,
but look at
Cap,
it this
hold
way,
on real
right?
quick. This is a capitalist move. So that was my point. So I'll go ahead and expand on his. So the war against masculinity, I think, actually happened by accident, at least from the government. Like, the way we say, oh, the government. No, I think it all happened by accident, as most things do. If you've ever worked for a government agency, people are not smart enough to put on this elaborate scheme together. It's usually one person doing it using everybody else's pawns. It's like, if you ever work, government is not organized. Okay. So it happened by accident. Here's how. The goal was to empower women to double the economy and increase the tax
Yep.
revenue. That was the
Simply
goal.
put.
Yeah, tax
That
was the goal.
what ended up happening is they did not realize the way nature works. If you empower a man, we create family, civilization, and society and community. You empower a woman, she destroys it. She destroys the family, and she goes on a quest for absolute power. Nobody wrote that anywhere, because nobody was concerned on what naturally happened, and what was the downfall of every major civilization was feminism.
Physical,
Basically.
yeah, I
They
was gonna
forgot
say throw
history.
that feminism
All right,
on
so
top of it.
exactly. Women view men as their greatest adversary in their quest for absolute power. That is why they're coming out and saying, keep him out the house, because I can't have no power. I can't have my way over the kids. I can't implement my toxic strategy with him here. He represents power. So I need to keep him away in order to be in control. That is what they never accounted for when they
Yes,
tried to
I
empower women.
100% agree, Trigger.
Can I say
100%.
something here
I
real
agree,
quickly?
Trigger.
There's something to the act and say. Being in this country for more than 30 years, something I've been scratching my head for a long time, trying to figure this one out. As an immigrant, I ask a lot of African American people, they understand about generational wealth or legacy. 9 times out of 10, they don't know what that means or what it consists of, right? We have multiple ethnic groups come to this country less than 10 years or so. Not only they're building generational wealth, they're building generational legacy that will pass down to the next that multiplied. Keyword multiply. African American people don't know nothing about generational wealth or building legacy. They make the money now, right? They live the lavish lifestyle, but toward to the end of the journey, what's there to pass down to the next generation?
Well, I answer your question.
Unless it's debt, unless it's more, I don't know what I can put in there, but the thing that confused me, when you try to explain to these people what need to change, why they want to put back for what I don't know. But later on, I live in New York City, so I'm talking from experience. Oh, you're not ADOS, you're not FBA. Why attack me for it? I'm the one that put you at the bottom.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
yet everyone else
I
around
disagree
you.
with that. I apologize on behalf of FBAs if anybody slandered you. But no, I'll answer your question. That wasn't always the case with Black people. The Black family is dissolved. If you don't have a family, you can't focus on legacy. And if you don't have a family, you can't think about generational wealth. Family is not our main orientation anymore. We are neoliberal people now. Our families dissolved in the 60s. Our mothers run our families, and they are consumerist liberals too. Every to each his own should be the model of the Black community. We don't have families, so it makes sense that immigrant families come over here, take advantage of certain resources, and can build wealth. We don't do that, not because we're stupid or we don't understand it. We've done that before. We've had whole eras of black Americans building wealth and building families, but we had family orientation then. Now we don't. That's why you see what you see in the African American community.
Yeah, and let's not put it all on.
No, hear my follow up.
No,
Come
not
back.
on
I'm
women.
glad you mentioned that.
Let me put a point in real quick, and I'm gonna pass it right to you. I'm gonna pass it right to you. All I gotta say is one point. We can't put it all on women too, because we gotta acknowledge the systematic board plan that was put into that to destroy the Black family.
What did Black men do to usurp the Black family?
Man,
you said what?
What did Black men do historically to usurp the Black family? When do we do that? To help fuck up the Black family? What did Black men do?
Well, they participated in the systematic game. When the drugs got put in the community, they participated in selling them.
I don't think the drugs got in a lot of other communities. They didn't destroy. That wasn't the catalyst of destroying our family.
But it was put in our community systematically.
So I guess
it got in their community from our community.
Hold on. So we don't derail the discussion. I think there's one thing, because naturally the issue for real is never to absolve. You can't absolve men of accountability in any situation. We're ultimately accountable. The original sin in this particular context that we're talking about is women refuse to acknowledge the one thing that made this thing go absolutely in a downward spiral. It's your choice. It's choice. That's the one thing you cannot take from anyone, no matter what they do. In any other group, if I go to a Middle Eastern woman now and I said, I will give you riches, I will give you sustenance if you remove the man from your home and raise those kids alone, those women will look you in the face and say, I will die before I let my children be raised without a father, because of how it affects them throughout their life. That is the original sin, because that choice was made. I can do it on my own. You still hear it till this day. They chose to do it without a father. They screamed it from the rooftop.
Black people made together.
No, it wasn't a lot of. You still ain't told me the choice the Black men made. Black men never got to sign a deal with the devil. Never.
The Black men chose to sell the drugs and shoot the guns at each other that was thrown into their community and took the bait.
Okay, I'll take that.
They got hit with the
hold on. Wait.
They got hit with the mouse trap. You take the bait, you get hit with the mouse trap.
Hold on. Let me put back on that.
How does that got anything to do with Black women choosing to take sustenance from the government over their men?
You're taking that as me saying that no, it's all Black men's fault. I'm saying no, Black men have a part in it, and I said we can't deny the fact that the government has a part in it too, because if they would have never.
Hey, Power, I got a question for you, Power. Are you trying to say that every Black man in America are you trying to say that they're almost?
I can't hear you.
Something wrong with your mic,
This
bro.
Are you trying to say that?
Something wrong with your mic. Go down and come back. Something wrong with your mic.
Your mic, yeah.
My mic.
Hold on. Keep talking. I'm gonna try to adjust it from my side. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Are you trying to say?
Yeah, it's fixed.
Are you trying to say that almost more than enough Black men are drug dealers? Is that what you're
trying to ask that?
You're putting words in my mouth. I'm saying that the Black
No. You said that Black men.
I'm saying
you said that Black men. You said that Black men are drug dealers, because we know that more than enough Black women say this.
Let me tell you what I said. I pretty much said the Black men who chose to do it did it, and the Black men who chose not to do it didn't do it. And that's a fact.
I don't see how that contributes to the dissolution of the Black family.
That contributed to them dying and going to jail, which means there was not a father in the home. If they're dead or in jail, there's not a father in the home, which means the child is raised by a mother who can't raise a son by herself, which makes the male either feminine or sensitive. Now he grows up to be
I get you, bro. But like the elder just said, that was never been and still has never been majority of the black male population.
Never
So
said that.
even if black men joined gangs and sold crack, that was in the inner cities of the North for the most part, at least in the boom of the crack era and shit.
Okay,
that
so
was
are
a problem, but that has never represented majority of black men. So you can't say that was one of the contributing reasons to the whole dissolution of the whole community.
Are we saying that did not affect our community at all?
I'm not saying that it did.
That's all I'm saying.
But the question was what I asked you, what did black men, because you said it was both of us. Killer Mike pointed out that black women chose to excise men in exchange for independence and support by the government. I asked you, when did black men do such a thing that they chose to take something from someone else in exchange for excising black women or children from their lives? That never happened. You brought up crack and gangs. So that was your answer, but that's not an answer to the question.
That's not what I heard you ask. I never said anything about that situation. That wouldn't even.
No, that's what I asked you. Your answer was about gang. When I asked you that, you said, well, they sold crack and joined gangs.
I thought you were saying, what did they do to contribute to the black family being dissolved?
Yes, that's the question. Well, no, in the context, Killer Mike, he gave us a clear context. He said black women chose to take government support for independence. We know that's a fact. But I asked you, okay, what's the comparable thing that black men did?
I'm not saying
you said it was both of us.
But if you're saying that, if you're trying to say that black men selling crack and joining gangs and killing each other did not be a part of the dissolvement of the black family, then you're lying.
But that wasn't a deliberate choice. That's a symptom of the circumstances. That is black men selling drugs. Black men's doing street shit is not. We're not the first group of men to ever do street shit for money.
That's a choice, man.
We were doing street shit for money.
If it wasn't
for our families, we weren't doing street shit for money to destroy our families. We didn't join the gang to destroy our families.
It didn't matter that they tried to intentionally.
I got a question for you.
It didn't matter if they tried to.
How many percent of black men? How many percent of black men participated in the crack epidemic? How many percent
of black men? A minority. It was. I don't know the exact percentage, but it wasn't never 50-50.
It's negligible minority. It's not even up to 1%.
Okay,
yes. It's not even up to 1%.
Now I don't believe that we're not up to 1% stuff, but we don't have the stats on this, so
I can't speak on that. Okay, let me ask you a question. There are
definitely believe it was more than 1%, but we don't got the stats.
I'm coming. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question. There are 6-something million black men in the United States, right?
Yep.
Or 6 million black men in the United States. So are you trying to tell me that of that 6 million, that 600,000 of them participate in drugs? Are you trying to say that? Is it 600,000 or 60,000?
I'm saying over 600,000 went to jail, died, or was killed innocently as a result of drugs.
Okay, that is not a black man's fault. That is not a black man's fault. Then that is
not a black man's fault who chose to sell drugs.
Bro, that's crime.
Yeah, I'm asking
you're basically
you
blaming crime on black men.
Let me ask you again. I ask you, are you trying to tell me that 600,000 black men are involved in the United States in the distribution and sales of hard drugs?
I didn't say that. I said over 600,000 black Americans were affected, either died, went to jail by drugs.
Okay, we can agree on that, bro.
You're not being straightforward, because what you're doing,
you're adding the victim. What do you mean?
You're adding perpetrators and victims to one. That is no.
So does that not affect the black community? Does victims not affect the black community? Does victims not affect the black? Answer that question. Does victims not affect the black community?
You're not listening to me.
We off the point.
Are you adding the victim and the perpetrator in this crime, or you just being specific to the perpetrator? Which one are you doing?
He said what contributed to the dissolvement of the black family.
Right.
If a victim dies, that contributes to the black family falling apart. What do you mean?
So you saying that's on par? You saying that's on par with the welfare? That's what you're saying.
I never said that. See, y'all are trying to compare this.
I'm not putting it. I'm just asking you, bro. You're just saying no, then, right?
No, I'm not saying.
Okay, cool. We can agree. Okay, we can agree on that. All I'm saying is I was correcting you. You were trying to equalize the shit. You're trying to say black men and women contributed to the dissolution of the family.
I told
That's
you
not
that
true.
earlier when you said that. I never heard you say that. So when I responded,
Right.
I was responding off of what Trigger Mike said.
Okay, fair, granted. Okay, I mean, we miscommunicated, but
It's
that's what I'm
definitely-
saying.
It's definitely
Black
not
men have
equal,
never done anything.
because the thing about it is black men aren't doing that nearly to the rate today and black women are still contributing to what they're doing now.
Yes.
So
I think
I agree with you on that.
So one question for you, Passionate.
Mm-hmm.
If the drug sales are a function of, it sounded like you were going with it's like sort of poverty or sort of these externalities, correct?
Yes.
Couldn't you apply that similar idea that either both poverty and or additional externalities could be the catalyst for the high elevated number of black women on government assistance? I mean, are you saying that are you saying that there cannot be, and are you saying that there is sort of a percentage there that is undiscernible?
Just so I'm clear, you're saying
you're saying
there's a correlation between poverty and women taking welfare?
Correct. Because I think you were making the point earlier, at least during the conversation about the men.
Yeah.
That potentially it's a byproduct, correct, of sort of those potential externalities.
Definitely, yeah.
But could you not apply that to welfare?
Of course. People that aren't in poverty tend to not use welfare, but I think there is empirical data. Like if you look at the Moynihan scissors, kind of lays out how when in every other community, as the males of a community's employment rates go up, the females' reliance on welfare goes down. In our community, that was not the case. When employment rates went up for black men, welfare rates went up for black women, meaning they were choosing welfare over capable men that could potentially take care of them. So that's my evidence to say, well, it wasn't strictly being in complete poverty, because of course you're going to take welfare system if you're starving on the street. That wasn't really the situation at all times during the time black women used welfare to kick their husbands and fathers out of their homes. That's what I would say.
But then what would you say outside of
it this way? Let's
Go ahead,
put
Mike.
it this way, right? Let's put it this way. I got to tell you guys something, right? When you have two people, right, and you give one of them money, and the other one doesn't have money, but the one that you gave money used the money that you gave him to take care of his family. But then you, the giver, came back again and said, oh, my bad. I'm going to give two of you money so you can use it, okay, to take care of the family. And then you give two people that money. Each of them have the same amount of money. And one of them goes out there, try to buy whatever he can for the family. And then she has that money in her palm and then said, you know what? I have a lot of money in my palm. You know what? I don't need you. Who is breaking up the family? Is it the person that went to buy stuff to take care of the family, or the person that is told, I don't need you?
I mean, I guess that's a I mean, to make that analogy would be to make it seem as if welfare is some cash cow, correct? I mean,
it is cash cow because it was a cash given to two.
That's not how that just isn't how it works. I'm not.
So how does it work?
Well, if you include welfare with other government subsidy, it's definitely a cash cow. If you include it with scholarship programs, at the end of the day, it's housing vouchers. If you put WIC, food stamps, if you put it all together, it's
paid for. All of them are paid for with cash.
Yes, but here I will push back on just the analogy in of itself. We're talking whether or not you're saying that there's this core choice, but what I'm just saying is that if you're going with that core choice, you can find any number of other groups who don't share our similar demographics in marriage rates. Let's take West Virginia as an example. Correct, there are almost no black people there, but they have high rates of government assistance, but majority white. We're talking 90% plus. I'll get to this point. The point I'm making, if it's merely a point of not having a cohabitant, why would you have this cohort of people that are unaffected by Black people? Like you can't include Black people in numbers and say that they're causing the elevation, and yet they are making the same decisions or potentially the same decisions, which we don't necessarily agree that they are or not. But it isn't as if there's like this demarcation line that African American women are only making this decision or solely this decisions, and other groups are just sort of devoid of those sort of decisions, and they're just poor for the reasons of being poor and collect government assistance because they just really need it, and it's just something that they're getting it out of the fact that they're poor, and there's no other decision that it's being made, which is just an unfair analogy to say that Black women are solely making that decision.
It's not an unfair analysis. It's not an unfair analysis, neither is it an unfair analogy. I will tell you why. The same equal, in fact, a greater amount of cash cow and welfare system was put into the white community, but the white woman stayed. The Black woman left. In fact, she didn't leave. She pushed her husband out of the house. So if you look at those two outcomes, the white community, it speaks volume. When you look at the two outcomes, it speaks volume. But I got to tell you this thing. The white community, the women didn't start living until recently. They started living recently, even though they started getting welfare much earlier. They didn't start living until recently. But the Black woman left as soon as she got her check. In fact, she didn't just leave. She pushed her husband away. Then her children went out there and started popping babies out to get their own welfare system.
It's worth to note that part of it was racist legislation, which was rectified. Initially in 1963, when Black women got access to welfare, it was a stipulation that they could not have a working man in the house to get welfare. It was not basically used on anybody but Black women. They chose, like Mike pointed out, though, they still chose with that stipulation to take the welfare. I don't believe, and there is a reason, there is theories in historical context to why are Black women seemingly more prone to taking welfare and excising their men than any other group of welfare recipients. There is a deeper history that stems from slavery, frankly. But I think I'm not just grandstanding and blaming Black women just for the sake of blaming Black women. But our women have made choices historically that are dubious as at fucking best. And they have to be held accountable. Black men never had the opportunity to make those type of choices. Who's to say they would have, but they never got the opportunity. And so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the way I'm approaching it, because like he said, it's not necessarily to disparage and beat on the heads of Black women. I always look at it. I don't even want to say it against Black men. It's against family structure. So just like Ikene said, you didn't do it to save your children from an abusive father. You didn't do it for any of those reasons. In fact, you did it, and then you had dominion over the children, kept having children. Those children went out to repeat what you did, to have children and have more of them, to get more welfare. So it started a cycle where you started to make the choice. That's why I said that's the one thing you can never take from anyone, because I don't like that we talk about this as if it's these people are lifeless robots getting a program put into them. No, you are making choices.
I got a question, Trigger Mike, for you. Do you believe that some women genuinely thought that they were doing it for the best of their self and the kid when they signed up for welfare and government assistance?
You know what?
Like genuinely, and not try to finesse.
Do you know what I actually think? You've heard the expression, "There's nothing new under the sun."
Yeah.
Look at how now, especially those of us that are old enough, almost 40, look at the generations of Black women and the trends, the vernacular, the sayings, the expressions that have been passed down. You know what those women were saying now because what their mother said, their grandmother said. Look at the way they talk. So what happened was there was probably a few women who were with men who didn't come back came back from the war. That's really what this was. Came back from the war and were drug addicted from what they see. That's why I'm a vet. They don't really let vets talk about the Vietnam War because they all like They'll go despondent and
Yeah,
not
they
want
ain't
to
even get
talk
welcomed
and be
home.
depressed. So those women were the ones that did it for the right reasons. But as with anything, you change it into something toxic. Well, Willie won't let me do something, and it became an advantage. So you wouldn't have to listen to your man. That's why we go to school, girl. You don't got to worry about no man. It came from them finally feeling some sort of freedom, both away from their man and financially, that they turned it into something toxic.
So do
Because
you do
other
you
women were doing it,
do,
regardless
do you
if it was
do
for the
you
right
think
reason or not.
do you think that all of them are purposely making this choice? Is what I'm saying, though, or do you think some of them they're doing it for the wrong reason? But do you think some of them truly in their mind don't know that they're doing it for the wrong reason? Like there's just been
They're doing it for
indoctrination.
independence. They're
I'm
doing it for
saying like
independence.
have they been indoctrinated that bad that they don't even know that they're doing it for
There
independence?
in the black community, there's a culture of
Independence. You said it.
of independence and more of a culture of a lack of respect for masculine authority.
Yep.
So
Authority in
if that's
general, but
if that's a
masculine authority.
culture, naturally at this point, girls growing up and can't wait to have their own shit and do their own thing. So the
Yep.
government giving out free housing vouchers, I'll take that.
Yep.
Like it's not even really that. It's not even. It doesn't get moralized. They don't have enough sense to know that they're dooming their families and their children to
And here's more proof.
poverty.
Here's
That's
more
the
proof.
question. That's the question I was asking.
Here's
That's
more
exactly
proof,
the
though.
question I was asking.
JT, here's more proof. Remember when I told you I have a statistician's mind? Whenever a woman throws a stat in my face, I go look up other stats because if one is true, then for that to actually be true, other things must be true. What we keep hearing on this, even the Ebony K. Williams thing, black women are doing this, black women are doing that. And they always do that where they make the black woman seem like she's the most achieving, stable person.
Yeah.
And then I'll go look up who the most evicted person is in the United States of America.
Exactly.
And it's a black woman.
I agree with both of you.
Those
And the
things
one
never,
with the
so
most
that,
consumer
was
death.
what
a
that was my thought of it
byproduct
too.
of
That's why I had
poor.
to ask y'all.
It's a byproduct of poor teaching, toxic mindset taught from their mothers because their father was never involved. Everything that you have is supposed to either be done for you, acquired for free. You see what I'm saying? There are women who are college educated who will jump at the fact of free money so they don't have to work for themselves anymore.
I'm gonna just say it, Mike. I'm gonna just say it, Mike, because you're Nigerian. You talking to a bunch of matriarchal people, bro. Black people are matriarchal. Plain and simple. That's why we do the shit we do. That's why we make excuses for the women.
That's why a big problem right there.
That's the reality. We're matriarchal.
That's a very, very big problem, man. And you're not lying. Before I'm going to let you continue. You're not lying because when I first got here, I have never seen a country that men defend women, even when they have seen that she did everything bad.
Yeah.
I was on a panel 2 days ago, and you know what I said? I think it was on Trigger Mike. I think it might have been Trigger Mike or some other panel. And I said this, that my sister came home, complained that her husband beat her up, which I don't mind going to go mess him up or get him arrested, right? But I asked my sister, what did you do? I got attacked by women
it was on the platform. It was on the platform. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? So do you think, you see how men got killed in America? A woman comes to you and tells, hey, I got mugged or I got did this. No, not I got mugged. I was beaten by somebody out there, or maybe somebody out there did something to me. And you don't even ask questions. The next thing you do is to go put yourself into something you don't even know where the gunshot is coming from. You're not investigating to find out what your sister did. You're not trying to find out did she punch first? You don't go put yourself.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason why Will Smith smacked Chris Rock.
Yeah,
you don't ask those questions because in a matriarchy, mama and women are always right.
Always.
And that's the context and the backdrop we're talking about.
That's why mamas are known for saying because I said so. Whenever they tell you to do so, because I said so, and that's what it is.
And we're not supposed to say this. we're supposed to keep this secret. Black men like to keep their ego like they run in the community.
Because
we ain't ran this motherfucker since the plantation. We ain't never ran this bitch. We was matriarchal on the plantation, and we still matriarchal at best. We really gynocratic, but that's a different story. We're really Google matriarchies, and you'll know how the Black community functions.
I mean, so it's 100%. You could put this to the test. Every matriarchy on Earth has failed to make it out of being a primitive society.
Yep.
None of them build skyscrapers. No matriarchy on Earth build skyscrapers. They are literally clay hut. Barely trade anything. Their men are weak as shit, get beat up by the men in other villages. So you look at and in the Black community, what that has actually happened is that men have adopted the emotional makeup of their mothers. 100%. So when trying to display masculine behavior, it comes out as aggression. I'm masculine because I think before I speak. I think before I act. I don't hit women because I realize if you hit a woman, you fail. Just replace her with a new. Get her the fuck out of here. What am I arguing with you for? A woman that I'm supposed to be dealing with, don't yell at a man. Like you said, like.
But she triggered. That's a Nigerian framework. Exactly. You notice when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, everybody said he was right. Everybody said, a lot of people said it was the right thing to do, to act without thinking.
Will Smith laughed at the joke before he went up there and smacked her though. He smacked him though. He laughed at the joke and then he looked at her face.
Who had to give him the signal? Who gave him the signal to go
the
smack?
The matriarchal goddess.
Yeah, the wife.
The wife.
But guess
the crazy thing about it, she didn't even say nothing. She just looked.
But I gotta tell you, if that was Nigeria, right? That a man goes on stage and slap a comedian, I don't think he's going to make it out of there alive. You're going to see like 200 men jumping on him right away.
Facts.
Like,
I'm sorry.
He's not going to.
Nigerian men don't like. I hate to say that Nigerian men don't like feminine men.
They don't like men. They don't like men fighting for a woman. That's the worst. In fact, let me tell you this.
Let me tell you why this is out of whack, though. Let me tell you why this is out of whack. It's so bad in this country that it's normal. That's the bad part.
Yeah.
I am telling you, this is a theory of mine. It is actually against a man's nature to defend women against other men. Something is wrong with your DNA.
That's right.
I can't do it. Like, though, if I try to do it, the words taste bad coming out of my mouth. Because what it really says is, just like Ikene said, if a woman comes to my house and tell me her man is beating her up or beating on her, and they have a family, I'm not trying to go there and beat him up necessarily. I'm going to say, I'm trying to fix you. I'm trying to talk to you so you don't do this behavior because you have a job and a responsibility to take care of your family. What men today do in America is they say, get him out of here. We'll take care of her. I'm going to be your hero. Yeah. No, one less husband, one less father is a catastrophe. They will work on that man 1,000 times before they expel him out of the community because they understand his value everywhere else.
We got a chivalrous.
I wish my mom had a brother or something like that to beat my daddy ass when he was going off.
It's a gynocratic society as we're talking about right now, so that's why that didn't happen.
You know, she's a true.
So Mike, says, I'm a punk. Well, I understand that you're a black woman, so you would say that, but.
Yeah, you basically not, see you a punk in the black community if you're not an attack.
I'm a punk, but don't want nobody come to my house and try me. I don't understand how.
If you're not willing to crash out behind your mama, your sister, or any woman, you're a punk in the black community, in the African American.
But it's the mind game they have been playing.
Yes, that's a tough
mind game they have been playing. They have not been able to fool me with that since I got out of college. So this is the funniest part about it. The same women that would call me a punk for that around my college days are calling me now to ask me if my brother's single, if my cousin's single.
Yeah.
Because they see what the hell I'm doing up here. They've known this is the way I talked all along. This is the way I am. And now they're just realizing at 36, 37, 38 years old, these are the men that take care of business their entire life, that take care of their responsibilities. The men that don't acquiesce to a woman's demand. You are safe here in this house. They're just now realizing that. And the reason they're lashing out at men is because they're triggered. They're projecting their failed strategy back onto us.
Yeah,
well, black men, the other way. It didn't work.
Black men are bucking against the matriarchal programming. That's what all of this recent stuff over the past 2 years of gender warring and that's why they get so upset. And that's and most men fall for it and retreat back into some matriarchal shit and just get defended.
And that's the problem right
I
there.
think the better proposition is to know the woman's character or whatever. So if you know that she goes out and she's just windmilling at everybody, then no, questions are warranted. But if you know that woman's character and know that she is not that type of person, then yeah, jump off the porch and beat that nigga ass.
Kelly B, you just made you just said
no,
so, man.
I disagree.
For the first time.
No.
I'm getting somewhere.
This is gynocratic right here.
No, compassionate. I'm getting somewhere. I'm just gonna give her pass mark for what she just said. I'm gonna be like, whoa, Kelly B, you did a good job. But guess what? I've seen girls that are so innocent to the face. Their family don't even know that she can cause trouble. In fact, they will vote for her and swear on their own name, on their grandfather's grave, that their daughter will not do anything. Only to find out that, you know what? She's not the same girl you used to know. In fact, she has a bad secret. And her secret is she is quiet but deadly. Quiet but deadly. So never ever trust somebody until you investigate.
Which is why we should not create a tradition of.
And let me add to that. Let me add to that. I'm glad I can hold on. I'm glad I can into the cop saying the same thing happened, but I saw the end though is not so promising. There are ladies like that from prominent people who do such things. I watched their father have the servant drag her out of their compound, toss her clothes out until you no longer belong here, because that woman brought shame to his name. This is why I'm saying other ethnic groups have a cultural mindset whereby they don't want nobody to bring shame to their name. Not their son, not their daughter. You do such a thing, you get cut off. Because I had a conversation last night, and I was trying to explain something to a few other guys. I don't think they fully comprehend the reason why the black community is about to be extinct because of that. When we have a thing called generational wealth, generational legacy, and it's all built on a family name, the level of integrity come to play with that. Which means the young generation in that family should not bring no shame to their name. If we think we are crazy, why do you think Japanese history had a thing about honor? When you disgrace or dishonor their family, you had to eliminate yourself to restore honor to the family name. Why do you think they go to the extreme? Because they understand the impact of their last name, the impact of their legacy name, the impact of the generational wealth that built upon that name. You cannot bring shame. When you bring shame, you bring debt. You don't bring wealth upon that. And that's why people don't get it. They keep missing the mark. You mock other ethnic groups, you mock other cultures, but yet you don't realize they're succeeding far beyond you. While you're in the dust, they're on the next level. And you're trying to play catch up. How are you going to play catch up going backward? You put cart before the horse mentality. That never works. It never does. And when we try to explain, you think we bad? Look at the Jewish community. You think they got time for that? No. The Latino community, you think they have time for that? The Japanese, the Chinese, they don't do what we do here. Those things are being kicked out of because they had gatekeepers to prevent those coming in.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I say what I say. You can bark all you want, you can scream all you want. The end result will be the end result. You keep practicing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Then you be admitted to the psych ward.
Indeed.
We'll talk. It's not a talking point. This is a reality. Go anywhere around the world, and you will see the type of community building up stronger community. And the people who want to play that little shenanigan game are being left behind.
But see, those communities you're talking about are willing to do whatever it takes to make sure their women are in line. And our problem is when we try to do that, we take their opinion into consideration and we try to
lead them behind.
They want us to
lead them behind.
No. If we try to do it,
lead them behind.
When it tries to happen in the black community, another black man gonna stop you.
That's right.
And take you to jail.
So CBN, leaving them behind would leave black men without options, correct? Like theoretically, I know the rebuttal is that there's women all over the world, but that would just mean other men don't have women, correct? I mean, just mathematically. So how do you?
I get your point. I get your point of that.
Yeah. So how do you?
We can discuss the solution.
Well,
go on with your question. Go on with your question because I think it's a good question. Oh, sorry about that, Trigger Mike.
No, go ahead. You got the floor.
So how do you deal with that problem? Correct. And so I think when we're sort of walking through the calculus of this, I know that the frustration of having sort of this imbalance, this fissure, whatever it is, was whatever's causing these things. But then how do you remedy it? Like, I think that's the question, more so than just say walk away, because just mathematically it would never make sense. Let's say for those guys who are able to do it, let's say you could leave, you could do all these things, you make enough money where you have options, if that's something, correct? You're not really worried about that, correct? But let's say if you're just in the middle, let's call them like a bus driver, correct? You can't walk away if you're a bus driver per se from this group of women and just go find another group in another part of the world because you won't have enough money to just get up and leave because you can't remote work as a bus driver, as a general concept. So how do you reconcile that concept?
I got an answer for that. Here's the problem. The solution have been out here for a while. And I watch these people out here, what are kind of about the female. You talk about security boss, talk about Chantel Simone, you talk about Host K, talk about Lady Di. They out here trying to teach young women, young generation that what we're doing in the past is not helping. We need to turn around. But what I noticed is that the masses are trying to downplay them, say they are the mind, or I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. If a man, shout out to him, he said, I'm not going to waste my time trying to save the massive. I will only work on those who really want to make that change. When I say leave them behind, leave those who do not want to change. They're not saying you can take a horse to the river, you can make the horse drink the water. Those who do not want to change, let them be. Don't sweat it. Never lose no sleep. Get those who really want to make the change and the effort to do so and work on those. When you do that, little by little, you start seeing the change from there. When you're trying to save the master, you end up drowning. Let's be real here. I'm being logical here. I'm being realistic here. You cannot save the master. You're going to save a very small few. Biblically speaking, the Bible said the way to the kingdom of heaven is long and not only a future enter in, but the way to destruction long and wide. Many are falling in. That being said, leave those who want to live in that type of destructive lifestyle alone. But those who want to make that change, you work on those first. When they see something different that is acting affecting somebody in the very part of life and they want to make that change too, they'll follow suit. Otherwise, don't sweat it.
All right. Callie Bev, I want to hear your answer to this question. How has the war on masculinity contributed to the singles crisis?
I don't think it has. I think the economy has waged war on family creation.
The economy, how so?
The more the middle class is squeezed, the longer the time people wait to have children and create families. And thus, then you have this other crap about hitting the wall and people being old and all this other shit. So, yeah.
And you're saying that helps the economy or hurts it?
No, I'm not saying it helps the economy. I think the economy is, I give the economy over gender war about 70-30.
All right. And I'm saying there has to be an agenda. Whose agenda is this?
I don't think it's an agenda to keep anybody separated. I think that the powers that be, the elites or whatever like that, they are more interested in themselves than whatever it is that they're doing economically as far as, our government policies and all that kind of stuff. I think that they're doing what they do regardless of the consequences because they ain't worried about it. They straight.
All right. And in general, what do you think about this whole single by choice thing? Do you think a woman can actually be single by choice, and why? Why or why not?
You can be single by choice from a certain aspect. I think if your choices are limited, then you really don't necessarily have a choice. You know what I'm saying? So they can say single by choice, sure, but if they had the option, I think they would go on ahead and be with somebody.
I think so too. I do think so too. All right. Let's get the next question rolling. We got, I think, 2 super chats. Hold on. Advanced perception. Why the last man? End of the discussion. Drew M, $5. What you guys are not saying is that selling drugs and everything else was a symptom of no fathers being in the home. That is a fact. Symptom after symptom after symptom. Compound effect. All right. Let's get the next question rolling. If y'all are just tuning in, welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Today's topic is single by choice. We are talking about that age-old saying now that everybody keeps using. But I want to get to why some people might actually be single for a time. I don't think single by choice actually exists. It goes against human nature. If you break it down intelligently, what it'll probably come down to is like Compassion and Callous said, single by circumstance. Your circumstances are why you're single. You can't get the man you want. You waited too long. He don't want you, etc. So the next question is, what are some of the characteristics of an undesirable man? Now that a woman cannot get the man she wants, but she's still in the dating pool, what is she noticing that she does not want in the dating pool? Callie Bev, since you're the only female on the panel right now, I'm going to let you go first. Please go.
I would say if I was dating over 30 years old, I would say what's unattractive would be having to teach someone life skills. Like, okay, so you don't know anything about credit. You have no credit. So now I got to help you build your credit. You know, the whole Build-A-Bear situation. You don't necessarily know anything about how government works or anything like that. So now I have to tell you how, you know, the government works and the 3 branches and all that other stuff. Or explaining how, you know, different laws can be effectuated to bring about, you know, a certain goal. What else would be unattractive? Overall, uncleanliness would be unattractive as an older person dating.
Are most
in a
men
man,
cleanly?
if you got like chewed up cuticles and stuff like that, and you don't wash your hair regularly, you know.
Unkempt. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of off the top of my head.
Now, I will say this because you brought up a good point. I hear that a lot, where it's women basically saying that men aren't really that smart, or the men that they. But sometimes I'm thinking now, is that more telling more about the woman than the man and the type of man that they like? Because men are the ones who are more politically inclined, right? We're the ones who know more about government, about politics, and so it really, to me, and for no reason, will engage in these type of conversations. They're our favorite type of conversations, right? So to me, it's like, doesn't it say more about the woman and the type of man she likes, that she keeps running into dudes with a lack of understanding of those basic things? And the other thing too, I'm sorry, the credit thing, I'm not sure about, because women are consumers. Maybe you'll jump in and look at your credit. I don't necessarily think that should be a disqualifier for a man, because a man with no credit is way better than a man with bad credit. Am I lying?
No, because well, yes, you are lying, because having no credit, you're still treated as if you have bad credit. So it really makes no difference.
Well, you can actually get a credit card with no credit, meaning no developed credit. There are people who
you're still going to have a high ass interest rate.
Higher, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, if a man doesn't know much about credit, hasn't thought about it, because I know a lot of men like that in the military. They just basically have to learn, right? They came out of a home, there was no dad there, only their mom. So all the stuff that I knew, I would see them looking over my shoulder. I'm like, what do you want, man? Hey, man.
Even the ones with dads, out of my circle or whatever like that, right? And my adjacent circles.
I don't think this is necessarily all a parent's job. Or I was like, this stuff isn't taught in our schools, right? We're teaching stupid history and shit. instead of stuff that actually matters. So I don't know.
Yeah, we know
Yeah,
how
I
to
mean,
budget, but it's not finance. You're talking about there's a difference between budgeting and finance. In the military, you know how to establish a budget, but it doesn't translate into finance, which is credit and loans and interest rates.
Which is all.
well,
What
see,
is
my
also
thing is this:
illegal.
I don't want this to go too far away from me correcting the premise of the question. I don't think that they're necessarily stupid. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're dumb. I think that they never learned or weren't interested in learning. You know, once you explain it to them, for the most part, from my experience, once you explain some of this stuff to them, then they're fine. You know what I'm saying? They get it. But I wouldn't say that they're stupid. No.
But I'm saying,
No,
you also
here's
said
the
it's
thing.
kind of
Hold on.
undesirable if he doesn't know. I'm like, why is that
Here's the thing.
undesirable?
I went to elementary school out here in the 80s.
Well,
Financial
you're
literacy used to be in
older,
the
then I don't.
elementary school system at one point. They decided to move it out for some parent, I don't know. So they were teaching financial literacy in the elementary school straight to high school back in the early 80s. Why did they take it out? I really do not know.
I don't think
That's
so,
the question
because
to be
I
asking.
received that.
No,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Now, granted, we went to, different school districts to teach different things or whatever. Me going to school or whatever in Cali, I mean, we were in the 5th grade in our math book, learning how to balance a checkbook, and and learn how to write checks and everything like that. When I was in high school, we had econ and government. They taught us about credit and all that kind of stuff like that. But when I talked to my husband about it or whatever, when we first met, he didn't learn that stuff.
This is actually a very good conversation because we talk a lot about men having to know these things. This is a bit of a urban legend. It's a lie. Women have been doing a lot of the clerical, secretarial duties in their house since the beginning of time. Men, remember, are most likely blue collar. This is like the rise of the intelligent man that went to college and all the women were in awe of him because he's smarter than all the women. That man is very few and far in between. Like, that is not common. What it usually was is that men have been workhorses. Whatever they're doing, usually in the labor market, they generate money. That woman is home. That's why they call it bringing home the bacon. She cooks the bacon. So it's like, bring home the money and we'll figure out what to do with it. And he's saying, well, what about this checkbook thing? I don't know how to sign up. You seen it in sitcoms. Good Times. I don't know how to sign that shit for the bank. That's your job. So I get it that she will eventually have to teach him. But this is why wives or women are secretaries, not men. Let me go put in a job for a secretary. They're gonna be like, get your non-multitasking ass out of here. Women are technically good at this more than men are. So I think it's an urban myth that men are supposed to be good at all of these things, and that's how you take care of your home. Let me tell you, if men did all of this, we would have no need for women. I'm just saying.
I tend to agree with your overall premise. And the reason why I prefaced me saying what would be unattractive if I was dating over 30, because you are literally still learning a lot of this stuff in your 20s. So if you meet somebody in your 20s, then y'all kind of help each other out and fill in the gaps of knowledge amongst each other. But if you're over 30 years old, then it's kind of expected that you have some baseline level of being able to take care of yourself and participate in in your local community.
That part I do agree with. If you are single well into the point where you should have had your own bank account and all that type of stuff, yes. Okay. You got to have some knowledge about something at 30 years old. I don't know how you don't know about credit and you went and found finance about 3 chargers by now. So yes, I do agree with that. EBD, let's get you in there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to answer that I think the last question before I came up. I think I had an explanation for that one, but I forgot what the last question was because I had a short little 10-second thing for that one. But
let me put it back up. Hold on. Was it? Oh, the war against masculinity.
Yes. So the war against masculinity, right? So linked to the single crisis. So just saying, ever since we've had to deal with feminism, right? We've been dealing with what women want, right? And what women want isn't going to be just one thing. It's a whole lot of things. We've actually changed. Men have actually changed how we operate in order to suit women's comfort level in the workplace, right? For instance, any new job you go to, it's going to be sexual harassment training, and guess how many times you got to take it before you even sit down and start earning a check that first day, right? So there's all these changes and demands in societies of men that women are demanding, and the problem is we've gone to a point where it started to affecting personal relationships. Basically, they've pretty much broken down the door for opportunities to work alongside us, but they want us to actually change our behavior in the workplace. And we have over time, but now they're asking for change behind closed doors in the home too. And that's kind of like I think that's kind of like a step too far. So if what they're asking is to be in charge, not only at work, but at home too, well, then where does that leave a relationship with a functional man, with a man that you respect and admire? So I think that's where the war has brought us to when we come to a single crisis. I think it's the accountability to a man that the woman doesn't want. She may want the pleasures of being in a relationship, but she doesn't want to be held accountable as a woman in a relationship with a man. So I think that's my little 1 minute thing. For the other question that we're currently on, the undesirable characteristics. One is I think a lot of it is feminine traits. To be honest, if you've grown up just underneath a single mother household, you're leading with your emotions. You're unsure. You're questionative. You second guess yourself. You don't have direction or leadership skills. You don't know what you want to do. You're still trying to find your way. You feel your way through everything instead of think. You're not strong enough to handle serious problems. You're always asking for someone else to step in and help rather than helping someone else. I mean, those characteristics kind of show over time in the date. For instance, when it comes to dating, it's usually the man that's supposed to ask the woman, "Hey, you want to go out to a movie sometime? You want to go out to dinner? Do you want to do something with me?" Rather than, "Oh, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go somewhere? Or do you like to go to the play? Do you like to go to the opera?" Instead of just the simp saying, "Whatever you like to do, we'll do it." It's usually the man that says, "Hey, I would love for you to accompany me to dinner." Like, it's a decision within the first 5 seconds that we make as men versus women having to decide, for how we're going to move forward. So yeah, I think these are the kind of characteristics that we're talking about that's undesirable.
Okay. Mr. Rich, what's going on? Good afternoon.
Hey, hello, everybody. Hey, listen, I just got back in. Hey, about the last bastion of masculinity and how we're single. What I really mean is the last bastion of cultural manhood is proposing to a woman. They try to take everything away except that. Right? They try to make everything equal, but they can't take that, and I think it frustrates some people. You ever see a woman try to propose to a man? It's cringeworthy.
I couldn't have said it better. Yes.
It's definitely. So I mean, I think EBD said it best about the characteristics of an undesirable man. Even as much as women bitch and moan, they don't want a guy that they can push around. And if they can push him around, he has other uses for them. He might have the aesthetics. He might be just dumb, and they use him as a pogo stick, and that's about it. And then they could boss him around and blah, 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 But anytime, and this is the Ebony K. Williams issue, right? Because she's in such a stratosphere, there's nobody up there that's going to be checking for her. She might find somebody who might want to, just fool around. But I'm talking about marriage. Nobody's going to marry a hyena like that. But because what she doesn't realize is men of her equivalent status, they don't have any issue marrying a bus driver. And so she doesn't realize. So let me finish. So, but as far as the, so let me just land it there. I mean, it's real simple. The characteristics of an undesirable man is one who acquiesces to his woman. And let me say this. I do have one thing. I was on Facebook, and they had a quote. Jake, what's the light-skinned brother on the Boston Celtics? He's their lead guy.
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. His mother's handling his money, right? And there was a post saying, He's 25. His mother still handles his money. I said, well, at some point he's going to have to, sever the leash of his mother running his life. And I got so much shit from men talking about, oh, my mom this and my mom that. I said the key phrase was at some point. I didn't say he had to do it tomorrow. I said, listen, KD is still kissing his mother on the lips and he's over 30. That shit's got to stop.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. The effemination of men has happened. It's so evasive in our society. I don't even think we recognize it when we see it. Some people don't. So anyway, that's me. I'll land it there.
All right. That was tight. Let's go to Grant.
What was the question again? I get so lost.
What are some of the undesirable characteristics of an undesirable man?
I mean, I guess is obviously going to be determined by each individual. I think any guy who doesn't quite have, his own house in order, I think if he doesn't know who he is, I think that's not attractive, correct? If you're complaining that women don't like you, if you're saying, you're complaining all the time, I don't know. I tend to think, most women don't find that attractive. If you're someone who's, reasonably sure of yourself and you have an idea of yourself, I think you can maneuver through this world, and I think women tend to gravitate to you. And I think that's an important distinction. I think all the other things in the periphery that people talk about, even having good credit, I think most people say that out of sort of reflexively. I think the vast majority of people don't have good credit, correct? I mean, especially Black people in general. And you can see by the number of check cashing places that are in the hood. And so it's a cottage industry for our people. But I think relative to that, I think most people should, especially for women and sort of how they're attracted to men. I do think they're going to always be at least gravitate to men who are present, and I think what would not be attractive if someone who isn't. And I think it's important to keep it's important as a guy to keep that in mind, because I think ultimately that should improve your outcomes, generally speaking.
All right. Humble. You been sitting in the cut?
Yes, sir.
What are some of the characteristics of an undesirable man?
Well, him not be a good leader, like making good decisions and acting feminine. The way we think as Africans, we're different. When it comes to credit, we don't know much anything about credit. That's an American thing. But as an African, a full-blown African is different. It's way different from an American, way of life. If you are not man, like if you have to be very masculine, like very, very masculine. Leader, you have to be a good leader, like to control stuff, to direct, to lead. They want you to be upfront. So many women don't like men who's like, when they ask you to do something and you're gonna ask them, what do you think? They need that leadership role from you. Like, you give directions, you let them know that, hey, let's go do this stuff. Whatever comes up, I'll take care of it. That's to women. So some women is sexy. They love that. Stand on your 10 toes. Don't let nobody. And the one women don't like is, like, let me say, one of the bad characters is what's it called? Mama's Boy.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't like that. Mama's Boy, like, oh Lord. Like anytime he, like, let's say if you want to buy a house, you have to ask your mom. If you want to buy a car, you have to ask your mom. If your mom want to come to your house, you're gonna say, my mom is gonna come stay here for like maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks or something like that. All those stuff. To me, is a red flag. I'm just like you.
I don't give mama don't get no pass. She don't. In my own
Put it this.
house, in my own house, nobody gets into my bedroom. Only my wife. My elder bro, my younger bro, nobody gets into my bedroom. That's my own room. You don't go in there. I have like a 3-bedroom house. My bedroom where I sleep with my wife, you see your foot in there.
I would hope nobody
See
goes
your
in your
foot
bedroom.
in there.
Yeah.
Your mic is cutting out, bro. Go ahead.
Put it this way, right? That's what I said. I think I said it 2 or 3 weeks ago. Men have to be assertive at all times.
Yep.
Because one thing, like when I came to America, one thing that I discovered was that men were taking excuse from their wives. I'm like, what? Like, hey, baby, what do you think about this? Baby, what do you think about that? Can we do it like this? I'm like, man, go do the bullshit. Like, when I was working at CS, like, I'll be surprised that men will come to buy a television or something. They'll be like, oh, I gotta go home and talk to my wife. I'm
That
like,
sucks.
I don't need my.
It sucks.
Why would I? That's my television, man. I'm not talking to nobody.
It sucks.
To
I
buy
mean,
a
unless it's
television.
going in your man cave, it's her television as well.
Like I remember when I was trying to buy a television, like my 75-inch. That was like 10, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my wife I was going to buy TV. She's like, oh, don't buy television. Don't buy this. Don't buy that. I'm like, huh? She said, yeah, don't buy. We don't need it. We can afford it. I'm like, who told you we can afford it? She's like, yes, we have other things to do. I said, okay. About few hours later, I told her, hey, I got a surprise for you. She's like, what is the surprise? Then they brought this big ass TV. She's like, oh, you bought a TV. Guess what? She took over that TV that night. The same TV she opposed, man. She took over that TV that night.
Sometimes when women say they can't afford it, they have siphoned off enough money to do whatever the hell they want to do, and then the money you're about to spend is going to cut into whatever they isolated out for themselves.
I tell you, man. That's why I tell guys all the time. Like when I bought a car, I bought a car one time, and she's like, "We're not gonna do this." I said, "Okay." I didn't even talk to her. I went and got the car. She still took over the car. So you gotta know one thing. As a man, you must either tell a woman to trust you, or you have to get her to trust you. Because if she can trust your judgment, she doesn't have to be in your house. And once you make that, like a friend of mine was telling me that his wife doesn't trust him anymore. And I was like, why doesn't she trust you? So he said, I made a business, then I lost $40,000. I'm like, your wife, because you lost 40,000, she doesn't trust you? He's like, yes. I'm like, you must be a prick, man. Even if I lose $100,000, I got to still do business, man.
Ooh, yes. This is actually very important.
It's a risk. Go ahead.
Look, this is actually important to note, because this is something that keeps happening in our society, where the only people whose failures get held against them are men. And the weird part about it, especially dealing with money, that women need to understand is the reason all men, pretty much all billionaires, except the ones that got their riches from divorce, are men, is because we take the most risks. We will continue to take the most risk. That's why we will eventually be rich. I'm going to be rich because I take the most risks. Period.
And hard work.
Women do not take risks, even if it's calculated. Women do not take those type of risks. In fact, next time a woman tells a man that he tried to start a business and lost a considerable amount of money, I'm going to just say, well, you went to college and you don't make what you spent per year. Tell her that. And she'll shut that right the hell up.
Okay, Trigger, let me say this stuff. Like this, when it comes to business like this, for me, I take a lot of risks. I'm a risk taker. I've gotten friends who I employed because I have my own business in Africa. I have a business in the United States. I employed my friends, to take care of my business in Africa. I trusted them. Guess what? They stole my money. And some guys are my family member. They keep telling me, man, you have to stop this business because you're not there and all the stuff. Even my wife told me the same thing. And I told her, man, listen, You don't have any say about this. I told her you just had to just chill. And she was so worried and so troubled. And I've been doing this business for over 4 years. I keep doing this. I keep investing without even getting anything because definitely, and it's a sport. I'm into sports because I know someday this stuff is going to yield real good. And when it start yielding money, we're talking about millions of dollars here. But when they stole my money, I keep hearing different sound like stop. You had to stop. You had to stop investing. You had to stop doing this. They stole like some over $20,000. That's what they stole from me. Did it make me stop? No. Even down here, when I came down to the state, the first time I'm into sales. I buy vehicles and I sell vehicles. I have lost like over 80 grand. But did it make me stop? No. I keep pushing. But right now, and it make me more smart that now the same mistake I make 4 years ago, I can't make that same mistake now because now I'm way more better. I'm smarter, and I can't make that same mistake I made years ago. But if I was listening to what my wife, my mama was saying, I wouldn't be where I am now. It would have been a different ball game. Maybe I'll be working at Walmart or something like that because I'll be triggered. I'll be scared not to lose any other money again. But I have lost huge amount of money.
One thing about business, just like buying land, if you buy land in Nigeria, it's a risk. I put a lot of my money in land property. The reason why I did that is because I know it's a risk, and also you have to look for the right people to buy land from. Make sure the land it wasn't sold. Make sure it's not on a zoned area that doesn't affect the structure that you want to build. So you got to do your due diligence. It's just like in the US. If you buy a land and buy it where the government wants to do something, you're going to either lose the land or they're going to pay you based on the appraiser. You're going to lose some money. So you got to be careful how you do business. But guess what? I'm sorry, business is a risk. It's a big risk. There is a reason why people don't invest in startup business that hasn't gone like 20-50% into whatever they're researching.
Yep.
There is a reason why for that. They don't start on the infancy. Yeah.
There are investors that will not invest in a business or a founder unless that person has 2 failed businesses already.
Yes.
They'll say, okay, show us what you did. Well, it didn't scale. Show me the processes you use. And it still failed. They understand that person understands where they made a mistake. Those are literally the only people that are successful. The people who have failed, taking calculated risks each time. They say, if I invest in this person, their strategy, their marketing, whatever, research is sound, eventually they're going to hit, and they're going to hit big. I want to be a part of it. Because the people that don't know failure, that swear, oh, this is the next big thing, those are the wishers, those are the dreamers, right? Those are the dreamers. They don't never want, they're like, you're not realistic. I need somebody who's failed, like literally hired a staff, put them together, did the sweat equity, did all of that, and it's still here in my face, trying to make it happen again. I'm gonna invest in that person.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, because they've gone through that. They've gone through the scar, the elements. They've gone through a lot. They're veteran. They know what to do. Because if not, if they don't make mistake before, they're gonna make mistake with your money.
Those are the kind of men women want. Women want those type of men. Women don't want men that are scared and that fear to take risks.
That's right.
So are we saying they don't want bus drivers?
Bus driver has experience.
A lot of modern women cannot handle my father, who was a bus driver. A lot of modern women can. He's an old school alpha.
Let me think about this, because since I used to work for MT as a contract worker, that's the Metropolitan Transit Authority in New York City. Bus driver make a kill. If anybody don't know that, the starting pay rate for MTA bus driver is around $33 an hour, and there are plenty of those who have been driving the bus for more than 15 to 20 years.
Their overtime.
Talk about pension plus overtime. I'm not even going to count that one in. I'm talking about regular hours. You add overtime and you add the many years they worked in, plus their pension, plus the stock option, and then some. That add up. There was a guy who was a conductor on the Long Island Railroad. I don't think everybody noticed it. This guy retired at the multi-millionaire. I'll say it again. This guy was a conductor, train conductor for the Long Island Railroad for more than 20 years. And he retired after multi-millionaire. His son took up the same profession at a young age, just followed after his father's footsteps. For all the retarded, good for nothing, junky ass female will look down. Guess what? Most of these multi-millionaire blue collar workers. So keep up with the bullshit. Now can't wait to see them drop their ass behind.
They had a book called The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Go ahead, CBN. I'm sorry.
Y'all keep talking all this
So,
shit like
my
average
thing,
people.
my thing is this. I'm getting sick and tired when people don't look down on blue collar. I work with construction workers. They make a killing. Working MTA for 2 years, a contract IT specialist. And I see these people not that they're making bread. Look down them all you want. They stacking up. By the time they retire, they disappear. And you wonder why they're so wealthy and so rich? Where did they got the money from?
Do you know? This is
They
one of
got
the
it from the
things I'm
government.
actually. This is one of the things that I'm
You can call it the
actually.
government all you want, but they did
This
it
is
well.
what I'm actually starting
Yeah,
to
it's a
realize.
government job. There ain't nothing
Hold
wrong
on,
with
y'all.
that.
Hold on, y'all. I'm starting to realize, like I said, a lot of people, especially women, don't do relationship math. It's not. They need to stop talking about money and just start talking about status. If you want status, okay, I understand, but it's actually now unintelligent to disparage a man who has worked consistently 365 days a year. Because the funny part about it is I had a friend that used to brag. A lot of people, obviously Houston is an oil and gas town and healthcare town. All right. So all of these people in oil and gas have super inflated salaries. They will be making 200 grand a year for no reason. They're doing nothing. They're like going to go look at pipes. Then they'll be employed for 2.5 years. Once the reduction in force happens. But that bus driver was making money the whole damn time. His 401k was getting loaded the whole damn time. His PTO was getting full up the whole damn time. If you could do math, this is why these people own a bunch of investment properties, and you see what I'm saying, have enough in their 401k and their 401k. It's really because they never stop working while everybody else in these high demand jobs are taking breaks. Look at all these Google like even these software engineers. AI about to kick them in like, oh my God, AI about to do a number on them. So
Well, Mike,
I just want women. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's just the psychosis of feminism. Just the women don't do the right kind of math. I mean, because when you discuss these things, some women just don't understand that the higher you go, and you take your hypergamy with you, the smaller the fish in the swimming pool. They don't understand that. It was clear to me that Ebony, with all her intelligence and all her degrees, lost sight of the fact that she's swimming in the pool of the 1%ers. I think she makes like $1 million a year.
She makes more than that.
Well, let's just say $1 million. Well, that's a lot, right? So how many
1%.
men of any race are you going to find to pick from, and who want to pick
that aren't married? That aren't married. That aren't already
married. Want to pick you, right? She wants kids. Okay, I don't know if she froze her eggs or she's going to freeze them. Just think about it. For me to be a 45-year-old man on my grind, I make as much as you do, maybe a little more. Now I got to go through IVF with your stink ass, as opposed to me finding a 28-year-old to 35-year-old where I can have multiple kids and for having sex. I don't even have to have sex with you now. I got to put an egg here and put my sperm in a test tube or some shit like that. Why would I want to do that with you? And you're going to be telling me how I should, what kind of magazine I should look at to get off, so you can figure out what kind of kid I have based on my orgasm. Who wants a woman like that? So I'm just trying to say she just kind of was so blind to the fact that she shit on a whole class of men. That's one thing. But she doesn't understand the pool she's working in, because she was holding that against men. The whole society everywhere, there's only a few men everywhere that is swimming in that pool, and she acted like she didn't realize that.
Arpeng, are you as a matter of like sort of following through on this logic? Would you recommend that if you were talking to a group of young boys, would you encourage them to become engineers, or would you encourage them to become bus drivers?
I would encourage them to. Well, I can give you my own anecdotes. I wanted to be an engineer. My priest, because I was in a Catholic school, he told me, forget about that. You'll never make it. Get a vocation. And only thing I wanted to do after I came out of college was throw my degree in front of him. But how now that I'm older, it wouldn't have probably been that bad for me to have a vocation, because I can't even hammer a goddamn nail. You know, so what I'm saying, let me answer your question. It would depend. I would tell them to strive for the STEM fields, because that's where the money's at. That's why I went into engineering. But I wouldn't disparage them because the water's only going to reach its level. Everybody can't be an engineer.
That was my next.
Can I answer? Can I answer that question? Can I answer that question? Wait. The question about what do you tell a bunch of
market in the 90s?
But I think the problem comes out of the point I was trying to get at is how can you at this one moment sort of go on a sort of rant about sort of people don't like plumbers or whatever they are.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard because I can tell you, and I've been lucky enough to grow up around a lot of Nigerians. There was never going to be a bus driver in that house. No, there's never going to be a point in which their daughters were going to be allowed to bring. I've dated Indians and Vietnamese across the board. You just couldn't. That fathers aren't even encouraging their daughters to do that. So how can you send out an army of women? And I'm not saying black women. I'm just saying as a general concept. If other groups are saying, I want this level of achievement, and this is the framework of your mind, and then there's a group of black men over here who seem to have deranged our notion that even saying the quiet part out loud, correct? Which is once you reach a certain economic strata, to even say it seems like a bad thing. But we all know in the back of our mind, when our daughters come home or when we want that guy to, when she's dating, we're all thinking, or most men are thinking, I hope he makes a lot of money, has a stable job, has his corporate job, because I just sent my daughter to college to become an engineer or whatever. I just spent $200,000 for her to go to college, but then I want her to be with a bus driver.
No, hey, before you go, CBN.
No. So let me
just say he was talking. Let me just say this. You don't misconstrue what I said, Grant. I was clear on what I said. I didn't say that Ebony or any woman her level should have anything to do with a bus driver. She didn't realize that the pool she's swimming in is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And that's all I'm trying to say. I mean, I'm not disparaging her, but she just was blind. She was just blind to the fact. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Even Ebony K. Williams, I've said this ad nauseum at this point. Nobody expects an upper class woman to marry a bus driver. In the Nigerian community, as you named, and even in an American society, people marry their equals, essentially. You're going to marry a woman of equal caliber to you. So we talk about how a male millionaire will marry a waitress. They don't marry waitresses. They marry accomplished women, probably college educated, or a woman with comparable work ethic, a woman that went to the church, a woman that can serve or create the same amount of productivity in whatever they're doing, of equal footing to the man. That's who most people marry. So we have an issue, though, in our community where women think education automatically equates to them having a higher status man. A lot of their education is bullshit. It's bullshit. They are actually the liability in the relationship. A lot of them go to college for liberal arts, which does not net them more than $42,000 a year. But yet they will shit on a bus driver making $67,000 with no school debt. That is their man. That's actually their husband. He's the one who's going to take you to the promised land. He's not weighing down the debt to income ratio. She is. So a lot of women aren't realizing that their education doesn't qualify them for anything unless they're doing or getting the same level of productivity that the man is getting.
I am about to break all of your hearts. CBN, just give me like 30 seconds or less.
I rather you because when I want to speak, I'm sure you're thinking the same what I'm thinking. So go ahead.
I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Check this out, right?
I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Okay, let me say.
What you're gonna say.
Bro, let me say it. Let me break your hearts, right? Do you know that women that always say things about millionaires, six figure, are actually women that earn $30,000 or $50,000 a year? A lot of medical doctors, even Nigerian medical doctors, female, are married to bus drivers, police officers.
Oh yeah, in Nigeria. Okay, yeah.
Even here, right here. I know a woman that has lots of money, but her husband is a Dallas police officer. In fact, I'm not going to name names. I know women that I've seen on panel, husbands, police officers. You see what I'm saying? And they are very happy. You'll be surprised that people that have money, women that make money, actually do marry men that can protect them. Those masculine men that earn twice less than them. It's usually the crazy ones that are either from broke families, dysfunctional families, the ones that can't even make $70,000 or $75,000 a year. They are the ones that usually say all these things that I need a six-figure man. Do you know that a woman with 5 kids needs a six-figure man? That's what she's going to tell you. She has 5 kids, 3 baby daddy. Ask her a question. I want a six-figure man. Whereas that the woman that makes 6-figure, a medical doctor that didn't study all this bullshit, will take a 5-figure man with happiness and joy.
Yeah.
Bus driver. So I would say to answer his question, to answer Grant's question about what do you tell a room full of young men about how they, or whether to be an engineer or a bus driver, to answer that question, which I'm trying to answer, you don't tell them to be one or the other. You tell them to find purpose, right? You tell them to find purpose in what they do. Whatever they find purpose in what they do, and keep stay on that focus. It won't matter if you're a bus driver or an engineer. You'll find what you're meant to do, and that will bring you not only happiness but money too. When you find your purpose, you're kind of going to be good at it, and things come like into fruition over that. Tell them to keep finding their purpose and don't settle on just a title or a position somewhere. When you find and follow your purpose, you'll end up where you want to be. That's what you tell a room full of young men.
So then we should be okay with women getting liberal arts degrees, correct? Because they're just following their heart. I think that
no. If we're going to talk about it from a logical standpoint, that degree comes with its own implications. It comes with negative implications. If we're looking at it,
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but if you're just saying follow this thing, correct, that has no way of navigating, correct, that you're just leaving it open to any number of outcomes. Which, if you're trying to raise an army of kids who are supposed to be in STEM, so let's all agree. If we're saying Black women aren't in STEM and we need to have more Black women, which I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. My sister teaches young Black kids, or tries to, not enough of them enroll, correct? But we want more Black kids, Black women specifically, and Black men. But if you want to have the same number of individuals, Black individuals in STEM, you should put them all in STEM. Because in essence, any group that's actually making leaps in a world that's changing should be in STEM. If you're just talking generally about outcomes, but we get quite fluffy and sort of we become less rigid when it comes to men. But we have this very strict notion that these liberal arts degrees, and I probably agree with you more than disagree with you, but you can't split the middle on this one. You have to either all or nothing. Everyone has to get STEM, and they have to outpace other groups, or no.
I mean, naturally,
STEM's not for everybody. It just isn't.
I was just finna say,
I'm in the STEM degree ethnic group, so I'm not gonna say you're wrong. But what I am saying is, we already know that every person cannot be an engineer either. Everybody cannot be a doctor. In fact, this country invested in its blue collar work. And I was making the point that I made earlier to say blue collar work is it's the most stable jobs you can do in the U.S. It's more stable than white collar work in many of the jobs that you do.
Engineering.
Exactly. Architects, there are architects that don't work for years after they've gotten off a project, right?
And let me say something to this, because I can say something on two other. I'm not sure what last show or the show before this. He said tonight, look at the tale of two countries, Nigeria and the U.S. U.S. invest heavily on the blue collar workers, and they have very strong structure. Nigeria did not do that. Nowadays, the turnaround be taking place whereby I didn't know this very well. He be going back and forth, and he knows this is the fact. There are people who have been bus drivers, security guards, working all type of blue collar job. They build their pension, everything, go over there and start a real estate empire, construction empire, trying to copy the same structural makeup that US is based on and trying to do the same thing over there, and it's blown up quickly. I can know that this is not a lie. It's not just only in Nigeria, all across Africa. People are not catching it. You know what? You made a mistake. Let's work on that. And guess what? You're building up a lot more new millionaires on a global scale than we ever seen before. All based on blue collar workers alone, not by STEM. And STEM is not just all based on IT and medical. Construction is also under STEM if you think about it. There's a lot of technology being used to build all these kind of buildings, and people don't get it. If you think IT is all about being on the computer, what about cabling? What about cable splicing?
Oh yeah, hardware.
Who set those one up?
So let me say this. Because
STEM is the most dropped
we
out.
need to stop looking at it from the ethnic group model, right? Because all Asians aren't doctors either. All Nigerians aren't doctors. Like, it's just that the ethnic group focuses. In fact, it might even be, some will say it's to the detriment of some of the ethnic group that they focus so much on certain careers and not others. They put undue stress on their children to achieve it, whether they have the background or not, whether they get the help or not, right? So it's actually true that more doctors come out of houses from other doctors, right? Mm-hmm. There are parents that don't know math telling their children to be doctors. And we need to look at it more as a systemic issue. When you said the thing about who your daughter brings home, naturally, I'm actually going to hope, just like Mr. Ikene said, because I've actually seen that too. The reason why a woman that is a doctor in multiple ethnicities will bring home a man who is not a doctor is because the last thing she thinks about in reference to his value is money. That is why his last bit of value is money. He is a man of good character. He's a good father. He's all these other things before he's his money. That's why they're able to do it and do it happily. My aunt was a doctor who got put through medical school by her cab driver husband. Okay, so other people can do it, and we need to stop equating those two things together all the time. We need to understand that not only is everybody not going to be doctors, all of these other jobs are the lifeblood of the economy. I would hate to go take my dry cleaning to the dry cleaners, as I'm about to do in about 15 minutes, and nobody is there because they all decided to go to medical school. That's going to be very disappointing for me.
Check this out. Let me add to what CBN just said. Just like I said on my channel, you can switch from a blue collar to a white collar easily, but you can't do that in reverse.
Absolutely not.
A white collar cannot become a blue collar that easy. It's not going to easily be a blue collar. But a blue collar can go to a white collar and switch back again. Because the reason why is this, right? Blue collar is the most powerful job anybody can take serious. This is coming from an engineer. I'm telling you for real. Even as an engineer, the person that I'm going to take more serious is a blue collar guy. The reason why is because an engineer will spend time arguing with me. But a blue collar will follow direction. And also, he's also going to tell me and say, hey, boss, if you do it this way, this is going to snap.
Yeah, it can, though, but you can't say it just from a man's point of view. From a woman's point of view, I mean, I think we underestimate how big hypergamy is to women.
No, we do know. I do know.
Well, no.
So money. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, Mr. Rich, I don't think it's hypergamy. I think it's
status. What's hypergamy?
Well, no.
Let me define hypergamy. Hypergamy is much easier than that.
Would be to get with the best available man. In fact, a part of hypergamy is getting the best father for your children as well.
That's right.
And some of these men these white collar men are the worst fathers in America. The more money you make, the less time you spend with your children.
But
So,
listen, I won't argue that, Mike. But listen, everything else in the world is conflated, right? So people are making up definitions, and we don't have the definition up directly. So a woman's hypergamy is all of those things and a bag of chips. The guy got to be better. He's got to make more money. He's got to give me status. All that's part of hypergamy to a lot of women, especially the modern woman.
Rich, that is not hypergamy.
No. You're giving me logic. I don't disagree with what you said, Ekene. You can break it down, but that doesn't mean that's not how women see it.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
But wouldn't you say I mean, how well does hypergamy works when everyone dates within their strata? Correct. People marry within their economic and social strata, and
hypergamy can be found in that too. Hypergamy can be found in that.
Yes, but the hypergamy is really about having someone who can pull you up into a strata. Very rarely is it within your strata. Correct.
No, that's not hypergamy. That's not hypergamy. That is actually luxury. That's luxury.
You know what
hypergamy is the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person's superior and sociological or educational background. That is the true definition of hypergamy. We can't just change it because it doesn't fit our narrative. We have to be able to at least say what hypergamy is and then be able to build off that. I'm not saying women make certain choices. I'm just pointing out that because the vast majority of people marry within their strata, hypergamy doesn't map out onto every woman in the way that we're saying. Is there some level of hypergamy? Yes, but it's less likely in a modern.
Grant. All those women will say they settled. All I'm just trying, because I agree with you, Grant. By the way, when he just said, we're trying to put logic to shit, man. We're talking about women. They're not breaking it down to every cent. Hypergamy, the motherfucker's better than them. He got more money than them. He can give them the lifestyle that they want. And her money is her money, and his money is her money. I don't care. Every level. That's what Ebony K. Williams said. Because if she wanted the lifestyle to maintain her lifestyle, what difference to make what kind of man she has? Because she could pay the money to keep it. But she didn't want to do that. She wants some dude to come in, keep her at her same lifestyle, and she could spend money on that when she wants to, just like the average chick in the street.
Let me address this, then we gotta go. So Nadia says no one thinks blue collar is whack. We're just saying that black people can be more and get those jobs that will create generational wealth rather than living paycheck to paycheck. This is the same wavelength that Ebony K. Williams was on. And it is the most delusional thing ever.
Yeah,
she's very.
Not only can the blue collar create generational wealth, nobody focuses on the root cause of any issue. They just talk. Do you understand that the reason why black men are not engineers or anything? Look at every single group of people that is highly represented in STEM. Ask yourself one question. Are there fathers in the home? Yes or no?
Yeah, good question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Their fathers.
Wait, what was the question? What was the question?
Are there fathers in the home? Look at every other community who's highly populated in STEM careers.
Native American, African, Middle Eastern, Asian are highly represented in STEM, both male and female. Do they prioritize family, and are there fathers in the home? If black boys can't read, they can't be engineers or doctors.
Well, STEM, first of all, just because you're in STEM doesn't mean you're not living paycheck to paycheck either. We've already said that plenty of people who make over 100K still live paycheck to paycheck. So it's really about your lifestyle and how you use your finances. And every blue collar job isn't a job that'll have you living paycheck to paycheck. Every blue collar job is not a job where you're broke.
The irony of the whole situation is the irony of the whole situation is if all of those blue collar guys go away, the world stops.
The world
stops. Right.
Ebony K. Williams could disappear, and the world won't skip a beat.
And then we also need to stop equating blue collar with low amounts of money. Yeah, truck drivers are blue collar,
or status or value.
Well,
with no debt.
A year.
They make a lot of money.
They make
the problem is I think in this country for the last 50 years, the word blue collar has changed value for modern women. It has never changed. Think about the men. Think about all of us here. All of us here at least can look at a blue collar worker or know blue collar worker or have been look at that man in the eye with the same respect that they would look
With
at us, right?
respect.
With
With
respect.
respect.
With respect. It doesn't, the money for us men does not matter. It is the respect and purpose that they bring to their job, which makes them valuable. And blue collar has just been shitted on by women and feminism who think that these men that make the world go round, who are responsible for getting you to work on time, aren't somehow good enough for you to date or marry or start a family with.
Okay,
I don't know
look
about
at it
that.
this
That
way.
may be
Yesterday,
look
it's
at it
more
this
about
way.
the
that may be
title than
true.
anything. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
That may
title
be
and
true
status.
for these men, for you guys on the panel, but y'all money shame other dudes like nobody's business.
No, we
Not
don't.
y'all personally,
Actually,
but y'all as far
I
as
was
men.
about to talk about that right now before I'm glad she said it, because that's what I was about to say. You see, as men, right, when we drive on that highway and come to a construction zone, what do? We look at that, the way they bridge the mold. You know how they pour those concrete inside the mold, and then it takes the form of the and the concrete takes the form of the mold,
Yeah.
right? Most of us look at it and be like, damn, I can't do that. That's what men do. That's what men say. When we see blue collar workers, we're like, damn, I can't do that. That guy is a badass. That's what we say. But women are the one that will come to that traffic and disrespect him right there.
Oh yeah.
So they think that what they do is what we do as men. No, we don't do what you do. We don't. Men respect blue collar men all the time, because we know, number one, he's going to beat the shit out of you. We know that.
Yeah,
can leave that concrete, he can knock you out.
I just said it.
Like I said, I can't
that money shaming thing is not. It's not among men. Poking fun with each other among men, it does not mean the same thing as women doing it. It doesn't. It doesn't. If I'm making fun of my friend who's the plumber and I call him shit man, he's laughing and I'm laughing. But we still he drive a better car than I do probably. Okay, so we laughing at each other. It's not the same thing as a woman laughing at him. But I got a dentist appointment, guys. I got to get out of here, y'all.
I beg to differ, but okay.
All right.
Later on.
All right, y'all. All right, there y'all have it, man. Single by choice. That was a great episode. Thank y'all for coming through to the Trigger Mike Show. Thank you for all the super chats. Tonight we got the big show. Lapeef Let's Talk. Go ahead and put that on your calendar. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. The topic for tonight hasn't been formulated yet, but it's always going to be a good one as usual. All right. Lapeef Let's Talk tonight. All your favorites are going to be on there. Make sure y'all come through, tune in, and appreciate y'all time today for coming through to the show. As always, tomorrow is Casual Friday. Let me know what sneakers you're wearing and what you're putting on. I might buy a new pair of sneakers if I can make it back from my son's soccer practice, but I'll catch y'all later. Great show. I'll holla at you.